Is that right, Luke?
Sure.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey.
It is Wednesday, so feeling good on a Wednesday. Yeah. I'm here with our fearless leader, El Presidente, Dan.
Hello.
Otherwise known as Dan the Man.
I'm Dan, sometimes the man.
So,
Cheers.
do us a favor. Press the like button, smash the like button, caress the like button, whatever you do that lets everybody know that you like what we do. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, set's a little different tonight.
Yeah, it's happy holiday season, so here we are on the couch.
Yeah, you know what time it is. It's gear and beer time.
There it is.
Cheers, boys. Let's hear what you're drinking. Cheers, Danny.
Cheers, man.
So, I got a Radler as per usual. You know, this one's a little different one, though. I got the lemon one instead of the grapefruit one.
Okay. Which one do you like better?
I don't know.
Doesn't
They're
matter.
both good.
Yeah.
They're both juice with beer, dude.
There it is.
Living life on the edge.
Yeah.
Wild and free, as they might say. You know.
On the edge.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a little different. We were doing stuff for the good old 12 Days of Christmas stuff today, so the coach wasn't in here for that, but we didn't have time to reset the setup properly, so we were like, let's bring the couch from my office.
Yeah, it looks good. It's a nice setup. Feels comfortable. I'm digging it. It's not like I play guitar or anything, so I don't need one of those. So here we are.
Yeah, we asked Dan if he wants anything. He's like, nah, I'm good.
I'm good.
He's like, as long as I've got beer.
Yeah.
And
you guys out there. Beer and you guys. We're good. We got an evening.
Listen to that.
Hey, happy holidays.
Yeah. It's crazy how fast the last 2.5 months have gone. Like,
Yeah.
I can't believe that we're already like a week into December. Like,
It's insane.
yeah.
Just insane.
Yeah. I have not played guitar all day, guys, so sorry for the horrible intro. And I'm not going to play much during this. I got a D40 set up hidden behind the couch, though. So I was like, well, you know, let's go.
Santa Claus, yeah.
Yeah.
You remember that one, do you?
It was a good one, dude. Were you driving the forklift? That was awesome.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah.
So, yeah, cheers, everybody. What's everybody's week been like? Getting new gear?
Yeah.
What's up, Perfecto?
Hey. Yeah, what'd you guys get for Black Friday and all that stuff, man? There's tons of deals, so who picked up something nice? What'd you get it for?
Lots of D25s. Thank you, guys. Like, the amount of D25s that we saw rip through the online store in the last few days was really, really encouraging, because I know it's been a tough year for a lot of people, and yeah, really great to see that people are getting some toys.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the support's just been great, guys, so thank you. Thank you for that. That's awesome. Helps us continue to do what we do, and we love to do what we do. Oh, a new 4x12. Nice. That's awesome.
Awesome, Paul.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I got anything new in the last week. I don't think I did. It's been a bit of a blur. I got a couple more of those Amazon pedals that we messed with last week that were late getting here. I haven't tried them yet, though, so, you know. What's up, Jared?
Hey.
Jared from Tone Wars is here.
Yeah, thanks for showing up, man. Awesome.
Jared, are you coming to NAMM this year? If you guys don't know Jared's YouTube channel, you got to go and check his stuff out. He's a great dude. I met him when I was at Motor City Guitar in Detroit. Sean and I were up there about a year ago, and yeah, it was a good time, and it was great to meet him in person. So it's great to see you out here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I dig what you do, man. I've watched your channel quite a few times, and yeah, killer tones and very engaging content. It's been pretty cool to watch. So thanks for showing up here and hanging with us tonight.
Basil, what new reverb pedal did you get? And what's up, Andrew? Jason, a Wizard 2x12 cab. Nice. Wizard stuff is phenomenal. So, yeah. Mikey Pipes has that Wizard MTL that I got to try. Killer amp.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. I'd like to try it myself.
Yeah. It's Rick St. Pierre, I think, is the dude who does that stuff. He's
Oh, yeah?
a killer designer. Yep.
Out of where? Do we know?
Yeah, like Southern Ontario. Like
He's in
another Canada guy.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Ooh, the UA reverberator. Nice. Oh, nice. Good. I got that UA Lion pedal when I was in Nashville back in, when was that? October. I still haven't plugged it in yet. I got a bunch of shit I haven't plugged in yet that will be on one of the next Gear and Beers coming up. Should tell you guys, if you're watching on Facebook and you comment, we can't see who you are, so hit the YouTube stream if you want to communicate with us and see who you are. There's Sammy. Sammy is on his way back from the UK from some dates with Morgan Wallen, and his flight got canceled because of a broken jetway or something, and he's stuck in Minneapolis for like...
Wow.
Well, you'll be flying out of there soon, I think, but yeah, like a 23-hour travel day. Just shit, man.
That's terrible. Sorry to hear, buddy. Sorry to hear.
What's up, Scott?
That's frustrating. Hey, Scott. Good to see you, man. Good to see you all tuning in. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm sorry I haven't made more of an appearance lately. It's been super crammed and jammed, but here we are.
Did I tell you that I spilled the beans about the G50 last week on here?
No, but I'm glad you did because I kind of want to talk about it.
Okay. So we can talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, good.
It won't come out till next year because it's still getting some final touches put on it, but
got to do the old spit polish. So, but it sounds good. It sounds good. It sounds real good actually. And I can kind of talk about that with you guys tonight. We can talk about that a little bit and the tones, kind of where we're heading with that one, and yeah.
What's up, Phil? Yeah, it's gonna be fun. NAMM this year. That's been most of my last. I don't know how long now. It seems like a month, but it's probably only been 2 weeks. But it's just every night till like 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay. We need to. What do we all need to make sure that we have? What do we not have right now?
Totally.
What do we need to get in? So.
Yeah, it makes it feel like a long process for sure.
Nice, Garrett. We're getting a couple of Music Mans, actually. I talked to Ernie Ball. We're getting a couple of those to use at the booth at NAMM this year. So I don't know how much we can tell you guys about the G50. Like, I know you want to talk about it, but man, I don't know how much we want to let everybody know about it.
Yeah. We'll give you a little bit, but not all of it, I'm afraid.
Thanks, Jared. Jared, I think you're going to dig the G50 when it comes out. Poo Ninja, the P50 or the P350.
The P50. I was watching Henning's D40 video today. I hadn't seen it. I mentioned it too that I was curious if he made it. And, yeah, it sounded great, and so it's exciting to also have the G50 coming out. Although one thing I did think about while I was watching the video is just how much of a difference the D40 is from the 740.
Right? From the dynamus 740. Yes, huge.
Yeah, and so I couldn't help but think, like it's sort of the evolution of things with the dynamus projects, because we originally aimed to have it where we landed with the D40, although it was so generator-esque with the last version. I think it was more of a rock amp than it was the vintage thing we were going for. And so, I mean, a part of me, can't help but think, okay, well, at some point there will be a rock amp. Like we've talked about the generator 7 watt and the potential behind that and having a rock amp. But
so what are you thinking of when you think of rock amp? Like what's your, like when you say rock amp, so you would consider the generator more of a metal amp then?
I would.
Okay.
I would for sure. It's got a searing gain on it, whereas a rock amp, not as aggressive to me, right? Like, can it get there? Oh yeah, it should. Maybe not with the same frequency spectrum that we use in the generators. I mean, over the years, the generator has obviously been changed. It was super tight at one point. Now it's got a little bit more of a loose bottom, if you want, right? So the evolution of things with the generator has changed. But I guess when I think rock amp, you know, not to throw out any brands or anything, but like a sort of a Marshall EL34 power section with like a generator front end, so to speak, but not as aggressive, right? Like the 7-watt sort of matches what I would kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
consider.
that 7-watt is way more like open. Like what I consider like when you're talking about a rock amp, to me the difference is like if you're talking about Marshall style amps or EL34s or Friedmans or anything like that, I would say to me it's things that are quite a bit more open sounding and thus less tight.
Yeah.
So like you get like, I mean, I'm not going to get it out of the D40 right now, but you get those like,
Yeah.
like those big chords
Yeah.
and that are going to ring for a little bit longer.
Right. Yeah. Instead of the bottom end doing this, it's more of a dramatic effect where you can feel it. It's not just going to be tight and off, right?
Yeah, like the difference between like vintage feeling and modern feeling. That's really the big difference too when you consider like the evolution of the dynamus. In my opinion, is that the D40 versus the dynamus 740. The dynamus 740 to me is a really good modern pedal platform amp that has a crunch to, you know, kind of teetering on high gain channel. But it's very modern. Like the second channel is a very modern drive channel.
Yeah, yeah.
The D40 is not a modern drive channel at all. It's still a low noise floor, which is one of the things I normally associate with vintage amps is like having a high noise floor, right?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I would say it's modern in
Certain aspects.
yeah, certain aspects of its design, but its feel. So like the compression and the, you know, the sustain and sag. On the D40, like that's way more vintagey.
Totally.
Yeah, rather than kind of modern-y.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Are you saying you want to do? You're saying you want to do a rock amp next?
At some point,
Yeah.
I don't know when that's going to be.
Great.
You know, we've got other.
Probably would have been good if you
Dreams
and I
and-
talked about this before you said it on a live stream.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I mean,
No,
I know we've
about
talked
it
about it
yes.
a lot. Yeah, it's
I'm just taking the piss out of you a bit.
I'm just regurgitating what we've already kind of touched on. So.
Yeah, it's I mean, I make no bones about it. Like my favorite amps, the older I get way more into Marshalls and like that kind of a little bit drier, definitely less modern sounding, kind of overdriven sound, or you know, it's still a distorted sound, but it's more overdriven than, you know, than high gain, right?
Yeah.
Which is when we set out to start on the D40, like one of the first things that I said to you is that like I think that we need to call Sean, and that this really needs Sean to be the main driver of the voice of the second channel, because you and I, like, I think you'll design and push things way more modern than I will, but I'll still go, you know, anything close to the green channel on the generator that's just like a little bit warmer and a hair less modern sounding is going to be like, that's what I go for, right? Like,
Yeah.
because that's the sound that I'm going to try to pull out of anything I ever touch.
Yeah.
And Sean goes for like way more clean tones, that the top ends on them are way more glassy than what I would go for, and that when they overdrive, that like it just is a completely different feel. Like that's like the tilt was the first thing that you guys did that really showcased that.
Yeah.
To me. And I really felt like also like you and Sean working on that and what you guys came up with the D40, I all of a sudden started to hear things differently when you guys did first when you did the tilt, but then when you did the D40 together, that when you and Sean were sitting in here working on it and he's explaining to you, like, hear that, like, this is what needs to change. It was one of the first times that I'm like, I can hear that. Like, I can hear what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I never really, I'm not good at articulating stuff like that. It's actually funny that you and I have always been able to work well together, that when you bring something here for Sam and I, or the boys to check out, that when I sit down and play things, that I sit and I tell you, like, in like completely non-correct terms of like, see this, like, see like when I'm like, you see that thing there doesn't have quite like the right bloom and sustain, and you're like, yep, okay. And then he leaves, and 15 minutes later comes back. He's like, try this. And I'm like, yeah, so you fixed that. So that's awesome. So
Yeah, it took me a while to learn that stuff, man. Like, there's just a guitar lingo that everybody says, and it's like, what does that even mean? Like,
yeah,
if somebody would have started saying glossy and transparent, and I could kind of get an idea, but you know, if you're an experienced guitar player, like I was kind of talking about this with a guy today. When you're an experienced guitar player talking to somebody that really doesn't know as much, like how do you explain that, right? Like,
yeah.
knowing that they're probably not going to understand what you're talking about.
No, I mean, it took a long time for me to, like, I wouldn't say understand what the buzzwords are, but be able to, like I said, I mean, well, we were just talking about this before the live stream started, because we were like, we didn't really have a big plan for tonight, just that Dan was available and Sam is not. So I was like, hey, Dan, can you make it? Because Sam can't. And you were like, yeah, actually, I'm going to be at the shop anyway. So, yeah, that'd be cool. But we were talking right beforehand. I said, well, maybe we'll talk about like how, you know, a little bit about how we got started. And I said, you know, it's been 10 years, like probably this week.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That you and I met. Mm-hmm. Like either this week or maybe in November.
Yeah.
I remember that, like, you know what? I bet you if I look back in Facebook, it would tell me when I got the
it would.
the hand-wired generator.
Sure it would.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's been like 10 years though, for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like the difference between when we first started working together and talking about, like, you know, you would bring something down for me to test, because I first had the idea to have you bring amps to HD for us to test, because I said, like, I have, like, you know, 20 different guitars. And I think at the time you had just a handful.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've got hollow bodies and strats and I've got everything. And like, let's see what can the generator, like what works with the generator and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And man, like I remember being blown away that like the only guitar that I had an issue with was I had a Charvel Model 6 with active pickups that on the original hand-wired, it was like honking like crazy because the input was so hot.
Yeah.
And that's why back on the original like Mark 1s, you had, like, what did we call it?
I can't remember now.
An active and a passive input.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, for active pickups. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like 10 years.
No. No, and it's been a long time. It feels like it's been a short time. How many of you guys watching, how long have you been aware of us as a brand or of any of our products? I'm curious about, like, how new are you to Revv? So, can you scroll the comments a little bit there? It says, somebody asked, Caseman asked, I'm not sure if you've ever answered this, but where is the bias pot for the Generator 120?
Which model? If it's the MK3, then it's in between each pair of output tubes. You'll find a little hole there. And in that hole is your bias potentiometer. If it's the MK2s, then, or MK1, I can't remember if I was using the chassis through pots on that one or not.
I don't know. I like how Sam is making fun of me because lately when we're testing stuff, I just keep telling Sam, I'm like, please just
play chords. Yeah. Yeah.
That is literally
NAMM.
Since our first NAMM. First NAMM was in 2015. So this year will be 9 years.
Putin just says about 6 years.
Nice. Well, first Nashville Summer NAMM, that would have been 2015 in the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I met Andrew, like the guy who's Satch-Trucci, whatever. I met Andrew when we did that. You might have met him, I'm not sure. But it was when we were at House of David doing video stuff. We did like the launch party thing, and like Bill Finnegan came to it, like the clown dude.
Right.
Yeah. Andrew was there. I can't remember if Andrew was at the party or if Andrew was there beforehand hanging out with some people. And I got to play his gold Duesenberg Star Player. I still remember that guitar, and I talk about it all the time. So,
it made an impression, did it?
Oh, dude, it was killer. Yeah. Facebook user asks, what are some of Dan's favorite higher gain amps? Do you use any of them for influence? for the designs? Ooh.
Ooh, spicy. Man, you know, I haven't played a lot of modern stuff. Like I've played whatever we've kind of brought in. So like, I don't think I've even played a Mesa Barba yet. Mesa Barba? I don't think I've even tried it. I've tried the Omegas.
Yep.
Man, like not a lot of stuff. It's
You played
just,
the KSR Juno when I had that for a while. Like,
Yeah.
I'll essentially call you when I buy something cool.
Yeah.
And just be like, hey, you should check this thing out. It's cool.
Right, yeah. But on top of that, man, you know, I haven't really tried much stuff. Yeah, I haven't really tried much stuff, to be honest. I've just sort of been living in my Revv bubble here and trying to churn out different sounds. But honestly, I don't really use anything as inspiration. I just sort of hang out with musicians, you know, talking to people that kind of dig certain tones and kind of just get my inspiration off people and sort of things they like and don't like. But man, largely it's just been sort of just playing around with cool sounds that I think are cool, trying to improve them, let other people try them, and just go off inspiration based off of feedback. I largely don't play a lot of guitar unless it's through a Revv or something. So yeah, I can't really say I really have a whole bunch. Back in the day when I was first starting out, I did do a lot of repairs, and so I'd play things like you know, a lot of the 5150s, stuff like that. Whatever was kind of hot. What was there? The
Did your guitar player have a crank?
crank. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, I played on the crank a little bit. That was pretty cool. It super large bottom end, pretty loose sounding amp. Gain structure was pretty cool.
Dylan wants to know if you played with my Johnson.
I've not played with Derek's Johnson. Thank you very much.
He wishes.
No, I don't actually. I'm good. It's a little bit too feature rich, perhaps.
Can you scroll back up a little bit there? We'll answer some of the other stuff. Dan, why doesn't the clean channel of the generator have a gain knob?
Good question. Yeah. When it came to the clean sound, I didn't really want to put one on. I just kind of thought, you know, the Generator 120 already has a decently edge of breakup sounding channel 2, and then channel 3 and 4 were there. I just sort of wanted the clean channel just to be clean. The only thing I really wanted to adjust were like the brightness and your EQ. Maybe a little bit selfish of me, but I just sort of felt like this is just what I wanted.
Wait, and you guys won't have experience with this unless you are like really like have known us for a very long time and played Mark 1s, even Mark 1s. Like if you played my hand wired, you would probably understand a little bit better. When he's saying edge of breakup, the green channel on the hand wired is so much less gainy and aggressive than Mark 2 or Mark 3. Like even than Mark 1. Like you started when you went from doing hand wired stuff to PCB design. Like you increased the amount of gain because of, I don't know if it was just that you wanted that or if it was the feedback that other players were already giving you way back then. But I remember like there was, you know, so many mods between like in Mark 1, right? Like we had like, man, like revision A, B, C, D, E, I think, during Mark 1 series. And, you know, you were constantly making tweaks to things based off of, you know, you would see a comment on you know, Gear Page or somewhere about the generator, and somebody say, oh, I wish it had more of this, or I wish it had that. And, you know, and you and I would be talking, I'd say, oh, I had this player try it, but, you know, they liked A, B, and C, you know, and they said they wished that these things were different. And then you started doing like, I remember there's like several bass mods and gain mods to the original Mark 1. And I remember you telling me one day, like, okay, I got it. Like, this is, you know, this is what it is, and I'm super happy with it.
Yeah.
You should bring your hand wire down here, and I'll mod it. And I was like, you were never touching that amp.
Yeah.
I'm like, because that amp will remain what you designed and built from day one. I'm like, because I think I said, like, in 10 or 20 years, we're going to want to look back at where we came from and see the difference in, like, how you've evolved as a designer.
Yeah, totally.
And I said, I want this amp Plus, I bought it. It's mine.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not Revv's.
Yeah,
So I'm
exactly.
like, not touching my amp. No.
No one's coming near this
But,
thing.
but yeah, like one day when we have the amp wall back up, we'll shoot out like Mark 1, like
Yeah.
hand-wired Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, you know, and if we've got, like, I think we've got a couple of different, we don't have everything here. We have serial number 1 of every Mark series, but we don't have different, I don't know if we have every revision. Like, we've got a couple. Like, I think there's a couple of Mark 2s here, like 120s.
Yeah.
Because I have one that, like, I don't know if it was a tube or what it was, but there was one that when I was building it one night, I was like, something about this, or not building it, I was playtesting it. And you had sent over 4 of them, I think it was, and it was number 3 out of 4. And like the other 3 sounded identical, and this one was very different.
Right.
And there was a sag to the purple channel, because I was the least biggest fan of the purple channel. Like, like I was always red channel, because I came from being a rectifier guy.
Yeah. Red or green.
And purple channel was kind of like, it's really tight. Like, I'm way too much of a dad rock, you know, butt rock, blues rock player, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
for that. And that specific Mark II 120, there was so much sag in that second channel, but it was still tight. But it was like the feel on it is way more like what the Mark III is now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
But the, so I kept that one.
Yeah. That was.
Because I remember it's here.
Somewhere.
Yeah, it's got my name in it, and like it
yeah.
doesn't have my name in it because I'm a vain idiot. It has my name in it because we used to sell every amp that we took to a trade show. We would try to sell every one of them off the show floor, which we were not allowed to do, but we did it anyway because we wanted to pay for the trade show, which we have almost never successfly done. I would like to add.
Yeah.
So it I etched my name into it to make sure that no one would ever try to sell that amp. Because otherwise, when things are tight, because I mean, it was a long, long time. I mean, things still get tight around here. Like, owning an amp company is not a way to get rich, that's for sure.
No.
But, there's still things where you're like, okay, if shit ever hits the fan, I don't want this being sold. And, this back then, we would have, we just sold almost anything.
Yeah.
I remember calling you because I was like, I want to keep serial number 1 of everything because I think it'd be cool. And I'm like, what do you think? And you were like, I don't care. If you want to keep serial number 1, that's fine. I'm like, you don't want them? And you're like, no, I don't have room in my house for all that stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, and I designed it and built it. I don't need it. Like, you have all your prototypes and stuff from
Yeah, that's right.
from back in the day.
It's good enough.
Yeah. So
I don't need any more than that.
yeah. So yeah. We missed a ton of comments while I was rambling like an idiot there. Like,
Let's see what everybody's saying here.
you got to scroll slower if you want us to read anything, dude.
I'm starting from where we stopped.
Okay,
It's right
cool.
here.
Just okay.
Limitations when designing or building amps. No, I think right now there's tons of technology. There's tons of opportunity to use whatever is available and expand on it, right? I mean, there's probably a ton of things that we could do with technology right now that hasn't been touched on. I think my limitation right now is time. I just don't have a lot of time. I find I have ideas for all these different projects, but I'll take on like 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 or 6 projects at once, which is kind of silly because it's very demanding. But then a lot of other projects just have to sit and wait until I've got time to touch on them, and then by then maybe markets change, or you just never know, right? So I think technology-wise, no, there's right now the sky's the limit. In fact, if I had more time, I'd be probably educating myself further to expand on a lot of the stuff that is available.
Yeah, like DSP and stuff like that.
Yeah, DSP, heck, even AI. The power in AI and what it could be capable of from a sound perspective. I mean, you just never know, right? I'm not even saying that I'm going to do something with AI. I'm just saying that it's a new thing. Mm-hmm. And so what are the potentials there? Well,
it's a cool tool if you know how to use that tool. If you don't know how to use that tool, it's it's kind of annoying in some ways, but I know people that are using it for good work that it's not taking people's jobs with what it's doing. It's just making people's jobs easier and allowing creative people to focus more time on creative stuff rather than the remedial tasks of I mean, no different than using, machines for pick and place and stuff like that instead of hand placing components and soldering everything.
Yeah.
I want to touch on one thing when you talk about there not really being limitations. What about, I'm going to out Mesa Boogie here. What about patents, though? Because I remember talking to you early on that there was certain technology that you were like, I would love to do this, but there's a limitation there that there, or are we past that point that most of the stuff that they have had patented or others have patented really isn't having an effect on you as a designer?
There's many ways to skin a cat.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yep.
So, I mean, it just comes down to how creative do you want to get. So I know there's one thing they do where they're using like the kickback voltage of a relay to trigger other things within their app. That's patented. But like I don't need that kind of thing because I use microcontrollers.
Right.
So I can put timers in that do the same thing. And so now I'm getting the same functionality. I just don't have to
Gotcha.
tread on, their patents or anything.
Yeah, I just remember really early on you saying that like there's cool stuff and Mesa's done a very good job of protecting their IP in this and the things that they developed.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's many ways of doing it. You just got to think outside the box. And yeah, microcontrollers have obviously made that super easy to do. And having MIDI on board, I mean, having a microcontroller is a no-brainer. And so you just got to work with what you got. And anybody that wants to accomplish something can do so with just, some time and some creative designs and considerations, and you can get it done.
Yep.
Besides, I don't like to copy anybody's stuff anyway.
No.
never
No,
rolled
it's
that way.
more just, like when there's stuff that there's a certain functionality, like, the best thing I can, say about that in regards to them is the multi-watt thing, right? Like we're, the reason that, you'll see companies like us say selectable wattage or variable wattage or something like that is because the term multi-watt is trademarked by Mesa, so you can't use that in any of your marketing or advertising.
Yeah.
And at first, some of that stuff seemed like it was out of reach as a feature at all to put in your amps because of that.
Yeah.
But like you say, you learn other ways to skin a cat.
Yeah.
And achieve the same thing.
That's right.
Which, for the record, I hate the multi-watt functions on almost every amp I've ever played. And I wouldn't say hate it on ours, but I would say I never use it because the amps sound great at full wattage, and I'm not going to shit on a bunch of other amp companies. But one thing that I've always appreciated about your designs is that the volume pots have a useful sweep. It's not from 0 to 2 out of 10 is loud, and then from 2 up to 10 there's negligible difference.
Yeah.
Like there's a proper sweep to at least like 5 or 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
And then there is negligible difference once you get up 6 to 10 on almost every amp I've played, but there's useful. I think that was one of the first things I told you before you and I even partnered up, that I was like, one of the things I'm most impressed with is I can run this amp at low volume in my house and the tone is still there and the feel is still there without like, and I was used to, not to out them or be a dick about it, but like I was used to running a Fender DeVille where it's 0 to 12, and from 0 to 1.5 is, okay, now it's ear-splitting loud at 1.5, and then from 1.5 to 12, I can't really tell a difference.
Yeah.
So, and we actually get that question a ton. Like I just answered that question off of our like live chat the other day. Is like, how does the selectable wattage sound like when you knock it down to, I think they were looking at a D20. So when you knock it down to 4 watts, how is it? And I was like, oh, it's cool. Like you can drive the power section then and get it to break up if you want. I'm like, but to be honest, it sounds cooler in full wattage, and just turn the master down a little bit and you're fine.
Totally.
It does lead into a little bit of Basil there asked, you ever think about doing a single channel non-master volume amp?
I totally have, yeah, definitely. And a lot of people have asked that over the course of, let's say, the last even 5-6 years, because there are definitely people that just want a single channel amp for sure. So I would do something like that. I just don't know. Again, like I said earlier, it's not technology that prevents me as a designer from doing anything. It's time. And so maybe one day when there's oodles of time,
Well, I think
Oodles of time. That's silly though.
I would also say one of the things that does hinder you as a designer is we talk a lot about what products we feel
Markets, yeah.
like, not just Dan and I, but like our entire team, right? Like whether it's Sam or Luke or Dorian or Sean, like Craker, like anybody on our team, we'll talk about what products we feel there's kind of a hole in the market, or like that there's room for us, so that we're not just giving you the latest version of a boosted Marshall or a Plexi or a single channel amp. And I've always been kind of against single channel amps. I don't like. I have a bunch of them that I enjoy. I just don't understand why you wouldn't want two channels if you have two good usable channels. And I think that the reason a lot of people like single channel non-master volume amps is because they're used to old Marshalls or things like that that have those, and they're used to those things being one-trick ponies. And we've never built anything. You've never designed anything that's a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
Like, that was one of the other first things I said about the generator was all four channels on this are useful. Unlike most of the other high gain amps that I owned and played at the time, where I was like, the clean channels on these are terrible. And that's why I had a DeVille, because there's no way the 5150 I had or the rectifiers that I had, there's no way I was going to play those clean channels to save my life.
Yeah.
So so I've kind of always been like on the fence about it. I mean, we've had times where we're just like, oh, screw it, people are buying these, like, we should just do it.
Yeah.
But then it just becomes, honestly, at least for me, it becomes like, this is somewhat of a cash grab, because we're just trying to capitalize off of a trend in the market.
Yeah.
I don't love that idea.
No, not really. Yeah.
You know, I kind of want to continue to do what we've done for 10 years, which is like try to create something that doesn't already exist.
Yeah.
And that fills a need for players.
Yeah.
You know, and by no means do I think that everything that you design is the best amplifier in the world.
Right.
I think they're phenomenal amplifiers. But that being said, I don't think there is a best amplifier in the world.
No, absolutely. I mean, tone is subjective, right?
Yeah, and there are days I like playing Marshalls.
Oh,
Like-
yeah, absolutely.
Like every day I
Yeah.
would play Marshalls, and every day I would play generators, and every day
Yeah.
I would play that Carson Grace. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like there's, you know,
Totally. Yeah, there's tons of different sounds, and some do better, for certain genres than others, and that's just the way it is, and that's okay, right?
Yep.
Like, we're not really aiming to be the best at anything other than the best we can be, or the best we can do, right? And,
Yeah.
And then it normally fits into something we've already predetermined anyway, so it fits better in this
Yeah.
genre. Like, I wouldn't take the generator to something that requires vintage tones. I mean, it just doesn't make sense, right? And
I would.
even when it comes to metal. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, in that regards.
I'll take it with a Strat, and I'll fight my way
There
through.
you go. There you go. I mean, if it's all you got, then what are you
Yeah.
gonna do? But I mean, even the different types of metal, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's an amp better at certain types of metal than the generator
Man.
would do. So.
I get a kick out of, like, there's so many times we've gotten hate on like Rig Talk or the Gear Page, or just even on social media in general, about how like people say like that amp's not metal enough, or they're not metal enough. And I've had people actually say it to me, and I'm like, I've never ever positioned us marketing wise to ever say that we're a great metal amp. Like,
Yeah.
I've just only ever said it's a great amplifier, or just, actually, normally I don't even say it's a great amplifier. Normally I'm just like, here's an amp. We think it's good.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys like what we put out, like
Yeah, you
sonically and visually and all of that kind of crap.
That's
so,
right. You either agree or you don't. That's
yeah.
okay.
If you don't agree, fuck you. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Get out of here.
Actually, if you don't agree, why are you watching this?
Yeah.
So,
So you must agree.
so will Revv ever delve into modulation pedals? A chorus, please? Cheers. Thanks, Hip Metalworks. Yes.
You can take that one.
Yeah. So two things. Number one, I'm not going to speak for him, so he can comment on this. Dan's never done anything with modulation that I've ever seen besides the reverbs and the amps.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not like there's this pedigree of doing that, and there's so much that we want to do in amplifiers, preamps, like other types of pedals, that we have enough for you to do for the next 5 years.
Totally.
So I would say yes, we would want to get into that, but it really takes us sitting down and figuring out, so is somebody else going to come in and help with that? Like, are we going to add somebody else to the team?
Mm-hmm.
We do have somebody that we're working on for some stuff to kind of test the waters with that
Yeah, yeah.
right now. But I also don't want to ever release things just so we can say, oh, here's the new Revv course pedal, or here's the new Revv delay pedal. By the way, it's similar to one of the other 4,500 delay pedals you could buy, or, you know what I mean? Like, I like that when we started, we did really set ourselves apart in the market with the generator. Like, we did have an amp that did metal and high gain well, did hard rock really well, but could also do clean and overdriven tones. Like, we've got country players, big country players, that are touring with generators.
Yep.
And lots of guys that are only using the blue channel and the green channel
Right.
on the generator. So
Yeah.
the fact that it can cross a lot of genres, I thought that was something that really made us stand apart. Now, that being said, in the last 10 years, there is so many people who have come out with great amps that the clean channel, like, that can do high gain and metal stuff, that the clean channel isn't a stiff, shitty channel, like that it's actually nice to play. So,
Yeah.
you know, so yeah.
The
So
market has definitely changed for sure.
Oh, huge.
Yeah. It was different 10 years
There's
ago.
there's so many great boutique builders that are out there now that weren't, either they weren't around or they just weren't visible at all.
Yeah.
In the last, it seems like 5 or so years, like, you know, I
Totally.
don't know how, when did like Driftwood, I think we only really started to see Driftwood about like 4 years ago
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Omega is like 4 or 5 years maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. For
Man,
sure.
Karsten's really newer. Oh man, there is so many of them. Mikey just brought one of those amps over. Ground Zero, like in metal. There's Red 7. There's
Right.
so many
Yeah.
new,
Totally.
or at least new to, like, us seeing them on social media and in North America.
Yeah, that we've noticed anyway.
And like
for
local
sure.
guys here
Yeah.
that buy like everything cool and new. And there's some that have gone away. Like, I don't know if he's still in business, but like, I don't see like Peter's Amplification, who's local to us. I don't
True.
see Peter's around a whole lot, but he builds great stuff. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it is really interesting, like, to see kind of, you know, where the market has kind of gone in the last 5 years. So, like, I do think that when we launched the generator, that we did have something kind of different than what the norm was in the market, and that helped us stand out.
Yeah. For sure.
Luke is way behind on the comments here, so just so you guys know, I'm going to get him scroll down to the bottom. And so if you asked something and we didn't answer it, ask it again here in a second, because he's scrolling past 100 comments.
Yeah.
So
I did see somebody ask about a generator 4 or 5. No, I don't think I'll ever do something like that, to be honest. I think the generator MK3, at least for now, is where it's going to stay. If I do anything again with a metal amp, it'll be a different series. Something
Right.
that's got a different sound altogether, where maybe there's a built-in boost and maybe a thicker gain structure for a different type of metal or something.
Mezzabarba does make great amps. I've got the M0. It is crazy good. 3-channel D40, no chance.
No,
The fact that the D40 is even 2 channels, that amp was designed, and the dynamus was designed to really help with the market in Nashville. Nashville guys already mostly like single channel amps. Like, that's the one place where we get the most requests to just do something single channel, and putting 2 channels with the boost switch and that on it was already like, Sean was like, well, like,
Yeah.
you know, well, I don't know. And
Yeah.
Sean can comment on about that, because I can see he's in the comments here.
Yeah.
And Yeah. So no, zero chance. I
Yeah.
would veto that in a second. D40 combo I want to do.
Yeah, that'd be
For
cool.
sure.
I mean, the the Dynamus 740 was sort of like a 3-channel amp with all the built-in, what did I even call them? Not aggression, but
Drive.
drives.
Dynamic and drive.
Yeah, dynamics. And so it sort of had that, but you know, it just didn't, for the market we were trying to go after with that amp, it didn't fit. Whereas the D40 in its new current format, it fits a lot better, right? And that's why I kind of made the comment of maybe doing like a rock amp later that sort of fills that niche, because we took out the 740 or the Dynamus 740. But I don't know. I don't have a plan yet for that. It's just maybe something that I've wanted to do for some time now, and kind of, like I say, resurrecting the 7-watt there recently. Well, I guess it wasn't even recent now. It's almost a year. Damn, time flies. So that kind of sparked my my desire and maybe intrigue to go after something with that 7-watt tone. But I haven't touched it. Like I say, it's been a year. Like we started talking about that last December, or I don't know when it was.
Yeah, it was.
I'm not even sure now. Time flies so fast.
I don't know. When did you start renovating stuff in your house and come and dump all your old amps here?
Yeah, I guess it's been a year.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Dan messages me and he's like, oh, or you call me, you're like, yeah, I brought a bunch of my old prototypes and stuff there. Can we store them at the shop? There's more room there than there is in my basement. And I'm like, yeah,
you
sure.
can dump the stuff.
And then I saw it sitting there and I'm like, I don't know what this is. We should plug that in. So it was fun. Flux is asking, Dan, how about designing a 50 or 100 watt tube power amp with level, depth, presence, NFB controls? I don't know what NFB means, but
Negative feedback.
okay.
Yeah, you know, I've considered it for sure. I just don't know, man. I don't know. I think if I was going to do something, you know, I'm torn between solid state and tube. Don't get me wrong. I know I build tube amps and stuff like that, but I also see the benefit in the solid state power amp, right? With all the bells and whistles and controls.
I would love to see whether or not we can design a solid state power amp, and by we I mean you, that reacts like a tube power amp for pedal platforms or modelers. The idea of doing one as a tube, like KSR has the PA50 or P something like that. I can't remember. Can't remember the exact model. I understand why they have it and why it exists. I just don't know how big of a market there is for it. And at this point, with the amount of time it takes us, especially with tube amps, right? Like, because we don't just have the time in design, then it all has to get sent off to like SGS for testings and certifications, because in order for us to sell it all over the globe, so it needs to go for testings and certifications. And that cost is massive.
Oh, yeah.
So we have to know that whatever we're going to design or build, that we can sell, like, honestly, probably into the thousands, like, in order to justify doing something like that.
For sure.
And I'm just not sure. I'm not saying there's not a market. I don't know enough about it. So yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on it, where solid state power section would be easier to do, easier to get certified, and because it'd be technically lower voltage, right?
Yep.
Like, so, yeah. And like the Seymour Duncan power stage things seem to do very well for a lot of people. But if you could get something, and I don't know if it's possible, maybe it is or maybe it isn't, but if you could get something that felt a little better than the power stage, like a little less stiff, I think,
it might do well.
Yeah. Tone Wars asked, Jared's asking, have we considered doing a plug-in? 100%. I would say that is mostly a me problem. That like, we've had a couple of people approach us and they do great work. I just haven't felt like the timing was right. That's also why it took so long to get our stuff into the Fractal. It really just comes down to, we want to have time to work with who's going to do that. Like, you know, we needed to make sure that you had time when Cliff contacted us, or I guess Matt originally contacted us from Fractal for modeling for the Axe effects, and it was like, we have to be able to spare, you know, whatever time is needed for you to work with them to make sure that it's done properly. and on the marketing side, they need to be the right partner. Like, yeah.
Totally.
So that's really what it's been, and we just really haven't connected with the company that we think we should do it with yet.
Yeah.
Not that any of the companies that reach out to us aren't great companies and that they wouldn't be good partners to do it with. They probably would.
We haven't
also,
explored it much.
I don't use plugins at all, like if
Yeah.
I'm being completely honest. So I would lean like really hard on Sam when we go to do that, which Sam's also been touring a lot last year and this year. So that's a little more challenging. So yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about it, but yeah, we haven't put in the time of really diving deep in that. We've just been so busy with our products and launches and whatnot, that just keeps getting pushed aside. And
yeah,
maybe one day, we'll have something. But
well, technically, just so you guys know, we will have had. So this year we did 4 new products. We normally do 1 or 2. So we had the Tilt Boost,
Right.
D25, the Chat Breaker, which was kind of like a quick thrown in thing that was like a fun little challenge and project. But then we had the D40, and then right in behind that we have the G50 coming, and there's new pedals that'll be coming next year as well.
Yeah.
Which we're not going to tell you guys anything about any of that stuff right now, so you don't need to bother asking.
Yeah.
But with that, it's like, we're used to doing 2 and supporting 2 products through a launch cycle and a launch phase, and trying to do 4 at a time when the economy is shit and everything's in a little bit of downturn.
It's tough.
Yeah, has been way tougher than normal. So
Oh yeah.
So thank you guys like immensely for all the support that you guys have given us through that. Like, it's been
huge, guys, huge.
Yeah, it's been incredible.
Yeah, it has. We appreciate it so much.
Dylan says Revv tube floor pedal amp with built-in Tilt G2 348 Mahler 2 notes, etc.
Wow, that's a tall
Probably
order.
not going to do that.
Yeah.
Scroll back up. Hold on one second. Richard, where do you think the Soldano Astro got their Galaxies idea?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So I've had so many people message me since the Astro came out, and for the record, Soldano stuff is amazing, and Boutique is a great company with great people. So, I mean, yeah, I would say the Galaxies, I don't know, are the Galaxies the different channels or are the Galaxies the IRs? I don't know exactly what it is. I did find it interesting that none of the literature says anything about the load. So like you can run it cabless, but it doesn't say anything about the load. So like I don't think it has a reactive load box in it or a resistive load box.
Yeah,
What
I'm
I
not
heard
sure.
was the power section gets defeated and shut down. And the IR loader just sends the preamp out,
Oh.
which is interesting because then you get none of the power section.
Oh, that is interesting.
I mean, for a 20-watt amp, I don't know how much you really care about the power section. Like if it was an SLO 100, you want some of that power section. Like,
Yeah.
So, I'm curious. I'm actually very curious about it. But yes, I mean, we knew when we did the DNG20 that others would follow once we had success with it.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to say that Boutique is copying us or that Soldano copied us in any way, shape, or form. What I'm saying is we were one of the first companies. It was us and Sir
Yeah.
that did amps with reactive loads and IR loading where you could run them cabless. And I mean, it's done very well for us. And it's no shock that other companies are going to do
noticed.
the same type of thing. Just like Mesa Boogie was one of the first companies to do multi-watt, and then a lot of us started doing wattage selectable options. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Will the new 740 be at NAMM? Yeah, it's not called the 740, it's the G50, but yes, it will be.
Yeah. Sounds pretty killer too.
Yeah. As a Helix user, you'd kill for a Revv power amp. Use the orange pedal baby, but I want to match my Revv 2x12.
Aha.
Yeah, like I said, I'm on board with. I'd really like to do like a solid state version if we can, but I've also never played a solid state power amp that I really liked for stuff like that. So I haven't, and full disclosure, I haven't played the Seymour Duncan one, so I have no idea about that. So, Dan, what speaker/speaker combos do you use when testing a new amp design? Also, 2x12 or 4x12?
Yeah,
answer to
so right now I'm using, I'm using a Mesa Boogie 2x12 with V30s in it. I don't know if they're Chinese version. I don't think so. I think
No,
they're
UK.
the UK version. And so I've always used vintage 30s because they are just the staple in the industry. In most genres too, right? Like I find that there's even a lot of country guys playing V30s and stuff like that. And so they're a very, very, very popular speaker. And so I just use them as my base when testing. I used to use T75s, and I tried Eminence stuff, Governors and all that stuff. And they're great for sure. There's good tones to be found. But like the vintage 30 is the base. It is the reference in the industry. Most people will talk about the V30. It's always against the V30 this, V30 that. And so it's a no-brainer for me. I'll use the V30s for everything. And then branch out and, okay, try a creamback or try this or that. And just see what it does to the tone. We've done a whole bunch of speaker shootouts, and every time it's right back to the V30. So I recognize that early on, especially after dumping like the T75s because they're too bright, or Governors because they're this or that. But there's great speakers out there, and I've tried a whole bunch, and I appreciate a great deal of them. But the V30s, that is the reference. The Mesa cab, being a 212, doesn't really affect anything. It's just the cab that we had on hand at the time, and I've just continued to use it. It's there.
I would like to note that is my cab.
That is his cab.
That he came to the shop one day and was like, "Hey, can I borrow that?" And I'm like, "Sure."
10 years ago.
10 years ago. And I asked him, like, "Hey, man," I'm like, "do you want us to build you, like, we have this facility here where we build amplifiers and cabinets. Like, do you want us to build you a new Revv 212? And you're like, "Yeah, sure. It'd be great."
Yeah.
So we built you one. I'm like, "Cool. Do you want to send that Mesa back?" And you're like, "Nope." You're like, "That's never leaving," because it is also one of those things where we're very well aware that people are often going to buy our heads without buying our cabs. We sell way more heads than we do cabinets. And let's face it, the staple in hard rock and metal is the Recto cab.
Yeah.
Or at least it has been for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
So if it sounds good through a Recto cab, that, that's what the majority of people are going to be used to hearing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, for sure.
I will say once and for all that Dan can just keep my Mesa 2x12
Oh, it's out
cabinet.
there.
It's now Dan's.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Merry
I didn't say that
Christmas.
about my DL4, so if you want to return my Line 6 DL4,
DL4.
whoever who has it.
Yeah, I don't know that I have that. No.
No. Hey, Bungert, what's going on? The headphone jack on the Generator 120, does it use the cab SAM, the 6 on board? Yep.
Yes, sir, it does.
The set light. Thanks, Nick. How you doing, dude? That's all Luke and Dorian today.
Did a stand-up job, gentlemen.
What did that say? Scroll back up. Dynamus is coming, dudes. Nice. Oh, Dynamus pedal. Yeah. Wow.
Oh.
So that is something that I would do. Like that is something that intrigues me, is a clean preamp.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And like maybe a generator, like a proper generator multi-channel preamp pedal. Yep.
Yeah.
I would look at that. So.
Although I don't think I would do tubes, though. I would do solid state.
Okay, so Paul's saying, so I haven't heard. Let's talk about this thought of a road show on the way to NAMM. If this is a potential, and if you do hit Seattle, I'm hoping I'm available if this happens. Okay, so I can tell you guys right now, just so you know, we won't be going to the Northwest on the road show. There's been some changes in, like, oh yeah, you don't know about that? Okay, yeah, Luke doesn't know, and he was going to be the one driving the truck out to Vancouver. So there's just been some changes in like which way we need to go to NAMM. So we will be doing some roadshow stuff. We'll announce where we're going probably in the next like week and a bit. I just got to finish lining it up, but it'll be heading down through like, I'm pretty sure we'll be at Flipside Music in Colorado. We'll be going down through like Midwest and over through like Nevada on the way to Los Angeles, and I think one in Southern California, in quite possibly in San Diego area right before NAMM. We will end up doing something in the Pacific Northwest. Right now, if I'm completely honest, we just don't have enough dealer partners in the Pacific Northwest to really justify the amount of time and extra expense that it costs for us to do the roadshow. It is very expensive for us to send, especially if it's like Sam, myself, Luke, and Sean going. It gets very pricey. So we want to make sure that there's a proper dealer in the area that can support it. And we do have a few, but like Seattle, we don't have really anybody right now. So we got to do some legwork and get some good spots set up. But I think that's a reality for later in the year. So Sean says, oh, the Galaxy on the Astro 20 is the channel voicing. Yeah. I mean, that sounds like it's just doing kind of like the like it does 4 different channels. Like there's a clean, a crunch, a tight high gain, and a rhythm high gain. And like, I don't know, there's lots of similarities between it and our product as far as like, not tonally, I wouldn't say from the demos that I've seen, but I mean, you know, each channel, the thing changes colors. But I mean, if we were to say that Boutique or like Soldano copied that from us, then you could say that we copied it from KSR and that they copied it from Hughes and Kettner and from Matchless and from Bad Cat. Like, you know, that's been around for a really long time. Like, we're not the inventors of that, nor, you know what I mean? So, but I think it's a cool idea.
It kind of goes back to the whole technology question earlier. Like, there is a pot and we're pulling from it.
Yes.
At the end of the day, tubes and the functionality of switching and this and that.
Yep.
Like, we're all using the same technology. We're just trying to find more creative ways of maybe doing it for ourselves and our products. But essentially, the technology is the technology, and LEDs only, you know, light up so many colors, and next thing you know, we're all using the same colors and this and that, and so we're not sour about it. We're not anything. We're just
no, and I'm not accusing anybody of copying us either.
Yeah.
I just say there's similarities between what we do and what that does.
But we're just going to keep innovating the way we do. And
there's similarities between what Friedman does and what Marshall does and what Wagner does and what Marshall does. And everybody stands on the shoulders of Fender. That was, I got to hear Randall Smith do a speech at Sweetwater a few years ago. And that was one of my favorite lines that I think I've ever heard from anybody, is that, you know, essentially the Bassman came first and we've all built on that in one form or another. So, Sean Page asking, will the G50 be close to the D40 in Canadian pesos, or are you still deciding on pricing? Bud, it's going to be probably exactly the same as the D40, you know. So I'm 99% sure it'll be exactly the same as the D40. So unless you guys want us to charge you more money for it, I mean, we're more than happy to make more money, especially this year. But you know, we kind of feel like that's probably not a good idea. We'd like you guys to be able to afford to buy them. So
definitely.
Smash the old like button for us. I guess I should say that again. Dylan's asking if you're a fan of my old band. I don't think Dan knew my old band.
I didn't know his old band. I mean, I think I've heard a couple of tunes.
I think we played a show together.
Did we?
I think so. I think like very, very long ago. And I don't remember if it would have been at like the Zoo, or I remember like the Collective Cabaret, or like one of those venues, because I remember talking to Stobes, and I mentioned, like, once I knew that you played in Tinnitus, or we played one of those dumb festivals. Sorry to anybody who puts these on in Manitoba now.
Yeah, they're not dumb. We love them. Keep doing your thing.
That like those festivals where it was like, there's 8 bands on today, and you're number 4. Mm-hmm. You're like, or you're number 2. Yeah. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
I think honestly, between 2000 or 2001 and 2007, I probably just locally in Manitoba, I probably played 200 shows.
Okay.
So, like, there's a good chance that we did play, and
probably.
I just didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
So, it's weird. The scene here, there used to be a lot of, like, if you were in, like, pop punk to hard rock, you would end up on bills with skate punk, hardcore, screamo, like right through to metal. You'd end up on the same bills, and it didn't make any sense. But
no, it didn't.
So.
Yeah, but the bar owners, like, even with the Zoo, they didn't really know what they were doing. It was just sort of like, all right, you want to play? Here you go.
Yeah, you show up, there's 20 people, and you're like, great.
You made $50.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Yeah.
You bet. Okay, what else? Can you scroll up just a hair? There was something else. It was asked. Oh, Derek sleeps with that Schecter. 100%. It's my favorite guitar.
Oh yeah, can't get it out of his hands.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll bring it to NAMM too. So if you're coming to NAMM, you can play it.
You get to touch it.
I told Scott Nickerson was here, and I told him he should play it because I tell everybody they should play it when they see it because it's awesome. And he didn't take me up on it.
Didn't buy it, eh? What the heck?
So, yeah, Sean, I always wear a mask when Derek hands you that thing. Yes, it's kind of gross right now. It does need like the neck is all glossed up. Like you guys won't be able to see it, I doubt, in any of the view. I don't know. This is like, it's all like properly matted up here because it never gets touched.
Yeah.
But like here, it's like super gloss from
totally is,
Cheetos and hand sweat. So.
Yeah. So you may not want to touch that. Just say it.
No, it's my favorite. So.
Yeah, it doesn't get cleaned.
It's just, it feels like home. What are you guys' favorite guitars? I mean, I have lots of other ones that I like. So. What's up, Alex Kelly? Poo Ninja says, what does Dan think about the bare-faced cabs with the crazy dispersion port? I don't know what those are.
I can't say I know what that is, but let's have a look-see. Luke is going to bring that up, and we're going to explore this
Everybody
together.
give it up for Luke. He's actually doing a good job on the stream tonight.
Yeah, he's been...
As opposed to normal.
Oh,
that's
is that
interesting.
what that is, eh? Okay, look at that. So what's the claim to fame here on those guys then?
Luke didn't like that dude, whoever he was.
I don't know. Ooh.
Get kicked in the face by the bare-faced claw cap. Yeah, I don't know. I suppose, you know, many people are trying many things with cabs. I don't care to get real fancy with cabs. If it's got a decent speaker set, can push some low end, and give me the cut I need. I'm generally happy with that.
Yeah.
Once you start adding LEDs and fancy ports, negligible at best, perhaps. But
you guys don't want to know how our cab design gets done around here.
Yeah.
It's
so we won't even waste time on that because.
Hey Derek, what speakers are in that Tweed Bassman stock? Oh man, stock I think it's supposed to be Jensen's, but mine isn't stock, so I've got ET10s in it. And it sounds really good. Somebody asked if this is Patent 5. Yeah, this is the Patent 5. It's a gin old fashioned, and this stuff is killer. It's locally made here. I'm a big fan of it. I know Sean was like, this is blasphemy that it's a gin old fashioned, but yeah. Yeah, Andrew and Sean both get to brag about the fact that they have James Tyler's and we don't.
Yeah, I can't afford something like that. You guys are too rich for my humble guitar playing. Wait, I don't play that much guitar though, so.
How close is that Schecter to a Strat sound? It's Stratty. I mean, it's HSS, so like. Yeah, you want position 4? Like.
Cab.
You know, we've had people ask us to do that, and we've built a couple of them, and I just, you know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes, Sean, I know somebody who would build one for me too, but that requires me giving them money for it right now. And given the current state of our economy, I don't think I need to be buying $7,000 guitars at the moment.
Yeah.
I also have 60 guitars or something stupid like that here.
Yeah.
Like, some of them are Revs, but most of them are mine. And I already have way more than I need. Yeah. So, but James Tyler guitars are amazing. We're gonna have a few of them for you, those of you who haven't played them. I talked to Rich, and he's bringing a couple of them to our NAMM booth for us to use this year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we got those. We got some Ernie Balls are coming.
Ah.
Eastman's. Really like Eastman stuff.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, the Nick Johnson's.
Yeah, I want to play a few of those.
This one's my favorite. I like this one more than Sam's. Like the neck on it is cooler than the one on Sam's. So. Yeah, the Tyler that I posted. Yeah, that's the Dan Huff signature model. It's awesome. Whose is the golden PRS? That's mine. It used to be Sean's. He kindly sold it to me. So. The gold DGT. Yeah, this guitar just sounds nice.
Yeah, it does.
Feels nice. It's been in almost every demo that we've done because
Yeah.
for a while, like, I made Sean use it instead of his SIRs because certain companies that we work with don't sell SIR, and they were really not into the idea of us using guitars that they didn't sell in their videos. So, yeah. So that's why I would constantly be like, hey, Sean, we want dealers to share this, and most dealers carry Schecter, so
Yeah, yeah.
let's go.
Totally.
Does the Schecter have any Derek relic marks on it? Yes. Yes.
Oh, there's another one.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I was looking for. Oh yeah, it's right here. Can you put the overhead thing on? Yep. To show them.
It's on.
Okay, so like, so I was playing at church, and I normally have wireless in-ears at church,
Yeah.
but I forgot. Like, let me rephrase that. My church did not have wireless in-ear packs,
Oh.
but I would bring my own wireless because I had my own wireless for ears. But then
Yeah.
we started using it here. Like my old one from when I played in a band is what we use for one of the ones here. So I set it on a stand, I think.
Yeah.
Do you remember, Luke? Yeah, I set it on a stand, and then I went to walk off stage when we were done.
Oh no.
But I didn't realize that my ears were still connected to the cable back to the like ATEM dumb thing that they used.
Oh.
Or not ATEM, what was it called? Avion.
Yeah,
Or Avion. And the like in-ear like little mixer thing fell over, hit my guitar, knocked my guitar over, and it fell into a sub. So,
Darn.
so that put like a dent here. This other stuff has just been randomly happening, which I know Sean is always a fan of. Like every time Sean sees it, there's a new ding in it. He's like, yes, like it looks like, because I mean, it's like it's checked. Like I'm sure they put it in a freezer or something when they checked it. So like the paint is kind of fragile. I don't know if it's nitro or what it is,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's pretty fragile. So like anytime anything hits it, like even my pick, if I go like this, you can watch it flake off, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah, look at that.
so it gets
Yeah.
you know, fairly abused with the amount that it gets taken around. I don't intentionally ever drop it or like, you know, I don't tell people to like,
Yeah.
oh, don't worry about being careful with it. I'm normally like, if you break that guitar,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
like
yeah.
if anything
It'd be a
happens
bad
to the
day.
neck on this guitar, I'm gonna kill somebody. Which there is like a couple of little marks in the neck that from people who have knocked it over.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's bound to happen, I guess,
yeah,
with the amount of use
So-
that it gets.
but it is, yeah, it is one of my favorites. I don't know, like,
Was your nipple
I don't know
hard?
what, yeah. No, but I almost cried, like, when it fell over, because it didn't have any dings in it. Like, it's always, like, checked
Yeah, yeah.
for relicking, but it was,
But yeah, that's
yeah.
potential.
Sean tried to console me saying that it was awesome, and I was like, this isn't working, dude. Like,
Yeah.
you're not convincing me that it's awesome
No.
to break it.
yeah.
Um,
I'm not happy.
But yeah, so Luke likes it. So, but yeah, this is a great guitar. It's my favorite, and I'm very happy to let anybody who comes to our booth at NAMM or anywhere else that I have it, they're more than welcome to try it, because I do think that Schecter has a bit of a bad rap for being like just pointy guitars and just metal guitars, and their Strats and their like PT Tellys are just just the best.
Yeah.
Alex Kelly asked, what's the pointiest guitar I've ever had? I had a Flying V for a while, and I had an Explorer. I sold both of them like an idiot. I didn't even need the money when I sold them. I went through a phase, like when I sold my Marshall AFD 100 back in, like after we started.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, I'm only playing the generator now. I don't really care about this.
Yeah.
I sold an Explorer and a Flying V. I had matching ones. They were black with white pick guards, which, for the record, Flying Vs and Explorers both need pick guards. And I've regretted it,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
So,
Totally.
yeah. So, but yeah, I'll eventually get new ones of those things. Or like new to me ones, I should say.
Yeah.
But I just don't care that much right now. Like it really has to, it really has to be something really unique and really special, or the right deal has to come up, right? Like when Tom Anderson reached out to us because they wanted a Gen 120 and a 4x12 and some other stuff for their shop and asked if we would do a trade. That's when I was like, yeah, sure. And the reason I say these guitars are mine is Dan and I have a bit of an agreement because for about 6 years I didn't get paid. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
if we could trade for guitars, I'll take that as
Yeah.
payment. So when I
like,
say they're
"Let's
mine,
go."
but they end up often, Dan's like, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. My wife probably doesn't love that I made that deal
Yeah.
at all,
Yeah.
but
She's like,
you know,
what were you thinking?
yeah.
It's an investment.
I'm a guitar
Yeah,
player,
exactly.
damn it.
Yeah, exactly. You disagree with me about Explorers needing pickguards? You like the 84 style? Yeah, I mean, I'd have to see ones without it. I should say this. I don't hate Explorers that have pickguards, but Les Pauls with pickguards, no.
Just not your thing, eh?
No.
Not your bag, man.
No, not my thing. So, hey, for all of you guys that are having beers with us tonight, because it is called Garen Beer, what are you drinking? I have the Little Harpeth Chicken Scratch from, I don't know. I got it when I was in Nashville.
Drinking Bemidji Brewing,
Yeah, that's fine, Luke.
Nice
That's good.
Catch, it's called? No, Red X.
Yeah, that's from Bemidji, North Dakota.
That's good. It's good beer. It's amber, so yeah, it's nice for winter.
Smooth.
Yeah, it's good winter beer. Good fall/winter, maybe spring. Hey, what the hell, summer beer? Yeah.
Year-round beers.
It's year-round beers.
What did Sean said that I'd have to fire myself? What? I missed
Something about your guitar.
I missed the first point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it faded away.
Oh no one gets fired if they drop something here.
Poo Ninja's ex demolished his practice room with a Rhodes Pro M3. Is that what that is? MJ.
Oh, made in
MIJ.
Japan.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Oh, no kidding. That's terrible.
She gone, but the guitar. Nice. I can see why she's your ex.
Dude,
So.
that's rough. No excuse, Poo Ninja. Get yourself some fine whiskey and give her.
All guitars don't need pickguards, guys. Come on. Ronnie Ladderwick's having a nice glass of almond chocolate milk. Ronnie, like shocking that you were drinking chocolate milk. I remember Ronnie went to Winter Nam with us and to Summer Nam, and I have never seen somebody who drinks so much chocolate milk in my life.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like the same way you like beer is how much he loves chocolate milk.
Or how I used to love beer. I
Yeah.
actually haven't had a beer until tonight in like
Uh-oh, we're making Dan fall off the wagon.
months. No, it's good. It's good. It's fine. It's good. It's good. It's fine. Yeah. Yeah, I knew a few guys that drank Pepsi like that too. It was like a 2-liter Pepsi in an 8-hour shift, and it was like,
Oh,
you must feel like absolute garbage. 'Cause-
dude, when I was in my like late 20s and early 30s when I started HD, I literally would drink probably 6 or 7 cans of Pepsi like a day.
Really?
I mean, I worked 12-hour days most days or longer, but I didn't drink water. I just drank Pepsi. And like,
Man.
there's a reason I'm fat. Like, that's why. But like, I thought nothing of it. And then like shortly, probably around like 36 years old, my body was all of a sudden like, hey, dipshit,
Yeah, enough of
drink
this.
water now.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you've had your entire Pepsi allotment for your life.
Yeah, time to pivot.
Yeah. Yeah. Roddy, I don't work out at all, but I probably should. Dude, you don't need to. You've got the fastest hands I've ever seen.
Yeah, you
So,
good to go.
Oh, that's why Derek don't give the guitar to Dan? Beer spoilage? Oh, no, I can give the guitar to Dan. Dan just, like, refuses to play almost anywhere we do anything.
I mean, my hands are
Yeah,
full. What am I
exactly.
going to do? Like, there's no room for a guitar.
We're going to make Dan into Danny 40 hands tonight. I'm going to go pick up
Yeah.
2 40s and tape them to Dan's hands. And
Let's go. It's Wednesday night.
I'll come in
Wow.
tomorrow morning. He'll be passed out on the couch in his underwear in here. No.
Well, I mean,
And I'll be getting text messages from Aaron all night
Yeah.
being like, "Have you seen Dan?" I'll be like, "Yeah, you might want to get him from the shop."
pass out on the couch. But at least there's a couch.
Is doing a shoey, sculling beer from your shoe, a Canadian thing? I have never heard of that.
I've never done it, man. Yeah.
Luke's saying yes.
Oh, Luke's,
I've heard of it.
Luke's into that. Dan 40.
No.
48. That's a few years ago.
Yeah.
Sean, how could you?
Anybody looking forward to NAMM?
And
I'm starting to.
G50. Who's looking forward to the G50? We should talk about that.
Yeah. How much do you want to tell them about the G50? What do you guys want to know? Let's let you guys guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you
Yeah.
guys guess what it is? And we'll maybe answer.
Yeah. So do you think the G50 is just an offshoot of the 120? Do you think it's been revoiced? Would you like it to be revoiced? What do you want to know? I think it sounds killer.
Adrian's really looking forward to the G50. Good to see you, dude. I like how, you know what, there's like 50 or 60 of you guys watching. It'd be great if you all throw up a comment so we have an idea who is watching. Also, we would love to know where you're watching from. I didn't ask you guys that earlier, so. G50 equals big tubes. Ah. How does it differ from the Mark III? It is a Mark III amp, so. If you're
Yep.
talking about the Mark III 120, will there be a G50P and G50R? Nope, just one.
Yeah, just one. So the G50 will be... It's a... How much do I want to let out of the bag here?
I mean, you already said you want to talk about it, so go ahead.
So we're not going to use 6v6s in this head. So like the 740 was 4 6v6s. That's gone. So we're going to use 2 power tubes to produce the 2 very popular power tubes to produce the 50 watts of power. It's 3 channels.
Channel 1 and Channel 2 share an EQ, though.
Yeah. But we've...
We've fixed the problems with the Generator 740 from doing that.
Exactly.
There are separate master volumes for each, like for separate level controls for
Yeah.
the clean and for the crunch, unlike on the 740.
So if you're familiar with the 740 at all, there were some limitations, and we obviously took all the opinions of others and complaints and comments into serious consideration and drastically.
garbage.
And we threw all that stuff out and
So what do we want to
we
do?
lit it on fire just to make a point. And then we built an amp that we wanted, which had all your comments built into it. So thanks for that. But yeah, it sounds great. It's it has its own voice, so it's not an MK3. It is in the platform per se. Like obviously it's a generator, and so we had to stick with a lot of the same feature sets and stuff like that. So it's got a gate, it's got reverb, everything that the generator 120 has, except it's 3 channels. So you could almost consider it like a 100p or something like that, but a smaller version, 50 watts. It's built to be rack mountable, so it's small platform in that regards. So it's not going to be a very big amplifier. We wanted to make sure that it's still, weight-wise was that was a consideration, and obviously very loud, but the voicing is a little bit different, and it sounds really, really good.
Yeah, the reason that we say that it's a 740 replacement is it's not the 740, but it is the replacement for the 740. And you can get the same types of tones that you got out of the Mark II 740 with this amp. So,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, so yeah, Revoice 740. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of design things that I did leave in, but I did radically change the sound too.
Not 6L6s.
Not 6Ls, no. Which is surprising because even when we were voicing it, and we had the 6Ls in, they just didn't do it, man, with this new sound.
Well, it's just different. Like what it was that I mean, I shouldn't speak for you, but what I found and the reason we tried it was we were looking to do an amp that replaces 740, and with 6L6s, it was pretty far off of the drive channel on the 740.
Yeah.
But with EL34s,
Now you know.
it sounded almost identical
Yeah.
to the drive channel on the 740, or at least could sound identical to the drive channel from the 740. So
it had the spice. Yeah, you can put KT88s in it. You can use 6Ls. So where with the 740 you couldn't do that. You were married to the 6V6s. Now you can treat it like a 120 per se and put in KT88s. I mean, you can't obviously mix. You're either putting in a pair, because it's only a pair, right?
Yep.
Whereas with the 120 you could put in a pair of whatever and 6L6s and mix and match. You can't do that with this head. It's a pair of whatever you're going to put in. So KT88, 6L6s, EL34s. But we just found that the EL34s just had a spice to them that just complemented the circuit in a way that just was quite drastic too, eh? Like, it was very noticeable.
Yep.
And so we just thought, yeah, I mean, that's it, man. Like, that's the sound. We're going to stick with this then. And anybody that was sort of in the room or listening or had an opportunity to hear it afterwards was pretty much in agreement that they just had the magic tone. Yeah.
it is, I should say about the rack mount thing. So it's like the D40 that there's an optional rack kit that I don't think Dan's actually designed yet, but that it is possible to be rack mounted. You have designed it?
I have. We haven't really moved on it, I guess. I don't know. It just got lost in translation.
So the standard one will be a standard head, but you will be able to do.
Yeah.
The video of Derek testing is a video of Derek testing the an EL34 prototype on your Instagram, the G50. Oh, I can neither confirm nor deny anything that you're talking about there.
Wow,
yeah.
wow.
I mean, I just know that tone sounded badass. So you can think whatever you want. With regards to like the red or purple, or is it a cross between? You should answer that, not me, and then I'll give my opinion.
So, obviously, it's not the generator 120, and so I used the purple channel in this design, but I modified it slightly, I guess I could say.
I would say with the EL34s, it is a cross between.
Yeah, the ELs make it sound different than a 120 MK3, let's say, right? Because they do add a different sound. But the amp as a whole, also with 2 less tubes and a different power transformer and a different output transformer as well, because the impedance that it is rated for is different. Like, there's a lot of different component sets there that also in one way or another shape the sound. And so even as a 100, or let's say the channel 3, the purple channel built in, with a relatively small tweak, it just gives it its own feel, its own sound. Although it isn't the MK3 though. That's the thing. It's not the 120. It's been modified. The sound is different now. I like it a lot better. Well, not to say that there's not anything wrong with the 120 MK3. This is just something I've evolved in the line of the generator, right? Like, it's just, this is the new sound that I've settled on. It's not as smooth and it's more aggressive. I guess if I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag, this sound is a bit more raw. So it's not like I'm saying, here's just a 120 watt, cut in half. There we go. This is something different now. It's not even the 120. It's a different sound.
I wouldn't say the older generators are stale. They're just different.
They're just different.
Yeah.
Like the MK3 has, or the 120 has it's a great sounding amp, and it does what it does, and that's great. It's just me as a designer, I move around a lot. I pivot frequently. It's just the nature of who I am, and I can't stop. So.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry about it.
Me
but
insane, and then I sit down and play something, and I'm like, damn it, he's right.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many times in 10 years I've said that.
Yeah.
Then I've been like, can you please stop tweaking? Like, you'll be like, so I made a change to the 120. I'm like, why? Like, why?
Yeah, why again?
Like, why?
Why you doing this
I don't
to me?
understand. Do you hate me? Like, do you hate me and want me to have every dealer on the planet mad that I'm like, so there's a running change, just so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just blame Dan.
Charles asked about the price. I would say if you went and looked at the price of the D40 on our site, it would be very, very similar to that price. Some might even say identical,
Yeah.
but very similar to that price. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
So, yeah.
I think you guys will like it, man. I think it's great. Like, it's just raw, full of energy. It's just got a different feel, and it's just, yeah, just the rawness of this sound is just really cool. I dig it. Just where I'm at now as a player and a designer, and it's slick.
Mitch, it's a weird thing to say this, but the answer to both of your questions is yes. He asked if it's as tight as the Mark III, or is there more sag? And the answer is yes to both.
Yes to both, for sure.
It's incredibly tight, but it has enough sag that it feels,
Yeah.
it's very different.
When you push the
So,
fat switch on this
it's-
one, it responds differently than the 120.
It's a lot like the Generator 740 is that way. That, like, again, that there's a reason that I've always said the Generator 740 Mark II is my favorite amp that we've ever done, feel-wise and sonically. Feature-wise, I think that the 120s and, well, everything Mark III is better because it's so much, it's just so much more usable in today's day and age.
Yeah.
And I mean, I should say of the generators, because like I don't think you can really compare generator and dynamus. They're so different that, I mean, I would probably opt to play two stereo, like D40s in stereo than anything else
Yeah.
at this point in my life.
Yeah, sure.
And then if I want high gain, I'd just use G3 in front of it.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, happy holidays, whoever who Facebook user is.
Yeah, happy holidays to you too.
Man,
Glad you're
thanks for the using the stereo D20 rig.
Oh, yeah.
Until the D40s came out, that was my main thing, and now I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yes, it's absolutely MIDI compatible. There's nothing that we do anymore that's not MIDI compatible.
Yeah, yeah. All the features you'll see on the 120 are loaded into the.
That's one thing I want to pick on other amp companies about. What in the hell are you doing in 2013, like 2023? What are you doing releasing amps that don't have
Yeah,
MIDI
MIDI.
controls and stuff
Yeah.
like that? I don't even use MIDI, but like it doesn't take much to add MIDI, much extra circuitry or cost.
No.
Like it's so negligible.
Yeah, it's a few
Like
bucks.
build MIDI into your amps because somebody's gonna
Yeah.
need it.
Yeah, that's right.
Not me, but somebody's gonna need
Somebody
it.
else, yeah.
Yeah.
And they should have that option. Damn it, give them the MIDI.
Is the clean crunch going to sound like 120? Ooh, that's very different. The clean is very similar to the 120, but the crunch is a
Yeah.
different beast altogether.
Yeah, yeah. We've significantly altered that. It sounds great. Like we just finished a few days ago. We were messing with it, and yeah, it's. You'll see. It's great. It's great. It's probably. Well, how would you say versus the 740? I mean, obviously the
crunch?
740. Yeah,
It's very different.
yeah. It's very different, but
I would just say this. It's not a Marshall,
yeah,
but Dorian, who does all of our graphic design work, videography work,
yeah. Right.
Dorian is a hardcore Marshall guy. Like I would venture a guess to say there's not. Well, Dorian doesn't own any of our amps, and
Right.
Dorian owns a lot of amps.
Yeah.
So if that tells you anything, like he is not a modern
Yeah.
amplifier guy, really.
No.
He likes Marshalls, Soldanos, and Friedmans,
Yeah.
right? And channel 2 on this amp, when I was playing exactly what Sam was saying, like,
Yeah.
just big E chords and G's and D's. Dorian's face lit up like a Christmas tree and was just like, oh,
Yeah. He's like, I need
So,
to try
yeah.
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, you don't need to build MIDI into your pedals. No, don't start making us do that.
Yeah. No, now we're
So-
pushing it. Yeah.
Was Dorian playing it on the recent story? I don't know if Dorian was playing the G50. I think he might have been. I don't remember. Yeah. Is it possible to get it in a head format but also remove it for rack mounting? Or is it just one of the other? Oh, yeah, it'll be a rack kit that you just take it out of its head shell and put in the rack kit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're good. And you'll be able to order it whenever we do it. I'm sure we'll set it up that you can order it in the rack.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you'll have to buy the rack kit for more money. So you can choose which one you want, but,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I'll make
Yeah.
sure to have that sorted out.
A MIDI-equipped tilt and mauler would be awesome. Yeah, Brent, 12 days. Yeah. What's today? 6th or the 7th?
Today's the 6th.
6th? Yeah, it's starting the next couple days. So, Dorian doesn't like wizards. I think he does. He doesn't have one. Mikey Pipes that we were talking about, our buddy that's all of our plumbers, and like he's
Yeah.
you've known him from like band stuff from like way back, right?
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
a while. Yeah, sure.
Mikey's got the Wizard MTL2, and I'm pretty sure Dorian likes it, but he's I don't know. Dorian's like through and through a Marshall dude. Like he's trying to buy a JMP right now in a Plexi, and every now and then I see him post on what we call it Kijiji, right? But it's it's the same as Craigslist. I'll see like a wanted your JMP, and I always harass him. I'm like, yeah, I got 3 of them, bud. Like, how much you want to give me for them? Yeah. But yeah. Matt Stewart, which of your amps has the highest gain that works best for modern metal? Any generator, buddy.
Yeah,
Either
the generators for
100p or 120
Yeah.
for modern metal.
Yeah.
Purple channel.
Purple
generator.
channel, yeah, nice and tight, fast, recovers really quickly.
We will absolutely have the G50 at NAMM.
Yeah.
It's official launch, just so you guys know. It'll be officially launching at NAMM, so that's when you guys will get the first real look at it, probably.
Yeah.
So, any chance of doing just the aggression modes in their own pedal? No controls, just the option. Oh, to foot switch it in and out. You know, we talked about that, about like if we ever did like V2 of the generator pedals, should we build a microcontroller into it and make it so that the aggression switch, like that you could like tap through it? But yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys that own G3s find that it makes that big a difference? Like, is it worth switching it? Like, would you use a switch like periodically through a song? Like, okay, I need to jump from aggression off to aggression red, for example. Like, I don't know. Like, let me know. What do you guys think?
Just leave it in the blue mode and go, bud.
Yeah,
That's
like-
what you need to do.
Like, I almost find that, like, maybe okay if you've got a couple of different songs, one song's heavier than the other, and you might want to jump to red from purple or something. I'd like to know your opinions on that, because I mean, I could definitely build it into something like that. Like, for example, if we want to go with a non-latching foot switch, for example, right? Then I could throw in the aggression switch, because I'll have a controller in there anyway. Or yeah, because I mean, it doesn't take a lot. It's a couple extra bucks to put a microcontroller in and program it. So I mean, it's just for me. Is it going to be usable, or would you guys use it, or is it just? Yeah, I don't know. I'm torn between that one.
Yeah. Eric asked, has Henning already ordered a crazy customized G50? He's already ordered one, yes. No, it's not crazy customized, though. It is custom, but it's not crazy. It's not like the D40 that he did. Which actually brings me to something that I'm interested in what you guys think. Who are the YouTubers that you think we should send the G50s out to? Like, who do you want to see demos from when it launches? I'm really curious about this, because I do feel like there definitely has been a decline in the amount that people watch YouTube demo videos from like specifically from gear demo channels.
Yeah.
That's been down. Oh, Alberto Barrero is awesome. Yeah. So Revv is awesome. Nice. Yeah. Yes, Jared from Tone Wars, absolutely. Leon Todd.
Yeah.
Fricker, yep. Hey, John Simons. Yeah, I don't know him at all. I've seen some of his demos. They've been great. Mike Hermans is great. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been watching a couple Sonic Drive Studio
I kind of thought we should
videos.
send the D40 to Mike Hermans over the G50. We haven't sent out the D40 to very many people yet, which is a problem.
Right. Keith Merrill, is he still in the game?
I don't know how much he does demos. He's mostly doing, like, he's playing live. Like, he's actually using a D20 and pedals for a lot of stuff.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. You like the depth Hending does as well. The Mark III videos were awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's tough.
Yeah, those were some.
Because there's
in-depth
some
videos.
people that are like, I don't want to sit through a 45-minute video,
Right,
let
right.
alone a 45-minute video of Henning talking. So, which I can pick on Henning because if he were here, I would bug the shit out of him.
Yeah, you'd get it
too.
anyway,
So,
yeah.
Landon Bailey, yeah, Landon's awesome. Michael Nielsen, awesome. Pete
Yeah.
Thorne, yep. Oh, huge. Valverieta, I don't know that one. Luke, send. I don't know that person. Send me.
Oh yeah, I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I haven't seen that before either. The one that Warren, or that person, I should say, that channel, whatever, that Warren Stephenson said there. Can you make a note of that for me? Brett Kingman, yeah, for Australian duties, awesome. Kyle Bull, yep. Aggie Fish, Hunter's great, yeah. Hunter's coming to NAM, it sounds like.
Okay,
Yeah.
good stuff, guys.
That's cool. Yeah, I've never checked out his channel. I mean, I honestly, I don't have time to watch a lot of YouTube stuff, so I miss out on so much stuff. Anderton's in the UK. Yeah, like Anderton's and Peach. Like if they're carrying it, they'll do stuff. You know, that's up to our European distributors. What happens there?
Yeah.
That pedal show is a weird one. Like they're really, really tough to get anything into. They kind of just pick and choose what they want. And
Yeah.
you know, we've been really fortunate that they had Sean on with the Tilt Overdrive, and I know Joey Landreth stores his UK rig there, so he's got a
Oh.
pair of D20s that I've seen Daniel use on some stuff, which is awesome.
Oh,
But yeah.
Interesting.
Will there ever be anything Vox flavored?
Yeah, you know, we've kind of touched on things that sort of revolved around like an EL84 sound tube-wise. Yeah, you know, at some point we'll probably go down that road.
You know what we won't do? Put their diamond grill cloth on anything ever
Yeah,
again.
we'll never do that.
Yeah, we won't do
No,
that again.
We'll never put anything aesthetic. The EL84 is
Yeah.
ours to use, though. It's
It's a
any
bad
time.
scene getting cease and desist letters from
Yeah.
Korg USA.
right.
I had no idea that that cloth was trademarked. I didn't know you could do that.
I didn't
Also,
either.
thank you to our suppliers for selling it to us.
Yeah, yeah.
When
Thanks
we're not allowed to
for
use it. So,
thanks for protecting, getting our back there, guys.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had no intention. We were just trying to be creative in what we were doing, and
Well, we had somebody ask if we could get it for them for a custom amp, and I was like, sure. So I got it.
yeah.
And then I was like, cool. Well, we could do these for a few because the guy posted on Instagram. Some other people said, hey, can I get that? And I was like, sure. Like so.
Yeah, yeah.
I bought a roll of it. We did a few, and then I got a letter.
Yeah,
and then I was like, oh, sorry about that. All right.
Darn.
Guess we'll get rid of all those.
Yeah.
So if you need Vox grill cloth, I have the majority of a roll that I could sell you of
Yeah.
black and of brown.
Yeah.
So
But don't use it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can use it on your own stuff.
Yeah, just don't
I
sell
just
it.
wouldn't recommend.
Yeah.
Although Dumble got away with it somehow.
Right. Yeah.
He was probably like, go ahead and sue me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll sell another amp for $250,000.
Yeah. We'll cover that, no problem. Yeah. I'll make that in 6 months.
I've played so few, like part of the EL84 thing for me is I've played so few like Vox style amps that I've really liked.
Yeah.
That's why like it's
yeah.
one of the major brands that I don't have in my collection. I will say Stu G has I think it's a 64 AC30 or a 62 or something.
Oh, wow.
That was amazing. Like was unbelievable. But it's the only one I've played that I thought was unbelievable.
Oh, okay.
So I'm
Yeah,
not saying they aren't out there, but the ones I've played,
Yeah.
oof, top boost ones have all been shit for me.
And if I was to do something
Great.
like that, I'd obviously put my touch on it, right? I wouldn't think it wouldn't just be Vox voiced.
You're gonna
would
call it the
be
docks.
The dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Dan's version
yeah.
of the Vox.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of a diamond pattern, we're gonna make it a square.
There.
Just
Hey,
here you
we
go.
figured it out. Thanks, guys.
The V20 instead of G20 and D20.
Yeah, the V20.
Nice.
Loving it.
Luke,
loving
you're
it.
on to something, buddy.
Yeah, perfect.
Nice.
Okay.
Trainer, yeah, dude, Trainer makes great stuff.
Yeah, and they're Canadian too.
Yep.
So
Long
it's-
McQuaid brand.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I have tried KT77s. I got to play
Yeah.
Anthony Best's amp. We put KT77 Goldline KT77s. Was it an Anthony's or was it somebody else's?
He had.
Somebody had
he's-
gold line KT77s.
It was him. Yeah, it was Anthony.
Or no, you know what? It might have been.
66s, KT66s, I think.
We
is
did
what-
KT77s. We did gold lions for, I can't remember who. Somebody in California, and I got to play
okay.
it. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they're good. They're good.
I don't notice a massive difference. Like being completely honest with you guys, generator 120 with different power tubes, it doesn't do a lot for me. It doesn't change much for me. The G50, I definitely noticed a difference. So maybe KT77s in there would be cool, but it's not like, yeah, like when we do the like mix and match of like 606 and KT88s or 34s and 606s and stuff in the generator, I'm always like, yeah, there's a slightly different mid-range, like low mids mainly.
Yeah,
And then I'm like, okay, like I can also just like roll the volume back.
Tweak my
No,
EQ.
it wasn't John Vogt. I think it was John Elias. I think
Oh, okay.
he had a pair of.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was him. I don't remember. There's been lots of custom tube stuff. I just
Yeah.
remember when we got to KT77s, we got gold lions because I was like, geez, these tubes are expensive.
Yeah.
And then I played it and I was like, it's not much different. Like it's like a little bit smoother. That's all.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's cool. I don't
yeah,
want to pay.
it's cool.
I don't want to pay that for
Yeah,
tubes.
yeah, and they're very close to an EL34. There's essentially the American version, so there's a bit of a spin on them, but yeah, I mean, you know, some people dig them and some people don't care.
Sean, we are using the TAD EL34s.
Yeah,
I don't know if I've ever tried the JJ ones.
they're good. They're good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I find JJ stuff to be a little bit darker,
Yeah.
just across the board. It's kind of stopped. I noticed they have tweaked their design a bit, so they're not quite as dark as they used to be.
They're cool in like
But-
certain valves in the preamp section on the generator, like JJ specifically. Like
Yeah.
I think I don't remember the exact combination, so forgive me guys, but like I think if we use like TADs in like 1, 3, like 4 and 5 maybe, and then just use JJ in 2, or maybe it's JJ in 1. I can't remember which it is, but there's one where it's like if we use a JJ here, it smooths out the generator a little more, and like
Yeah.
the dark sound of that preamp tube actually is really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's so negligible.
Yeah, it depends on where it is too. I agree though. Like if I were to put a JJ in, let's say, tube position 3, which is tube stage 3, and it's shared between channel 3 and 4, you would notice the biggest impact there because it's going to darken the tone across the board between 3 and 4. That's probably the most noticeable position to put a JJ in. But there's enough there that you can tell. Like if I was using a Shuguang
Yep.
or Chinese tube, and then throw in a JJ, I would notice right away that that's a darker tone. Well, at least it used to be. But again, I find they have kind of changed their design a bit. They were really dark before. Now they're not quite as dark. Not the newer ones, anyway.
Dan, I like the way you make it easy to bias an amp from the back panel. Can the Gen 120 Mark III take any tube/tube combo?
Yeah. So great. I'm glad you dig that. That was one of the things I started off with early on with the generator design that I just figured people would appreciate, right? You can bias this thing without having to take it out of the head shell or take it to a tech. I mean, in some cases, you may have to take it out of the head shell depending on what kind of working space you have or what kind of tubes you're putting in. But yeah, it's something I'll continue to do in the other amplifiers. So your G50 will have that option, just like the D40 does. Yeah, I dig it. People dig it. If you're, a touring musician or you're just a guy that plays a lot of gigs, I mean, you blow a tube, you want to be able to change that on the spot. You can now, right?
Yep.
Carry a multimeter, another set of tubes, and you can bias her up in 5 minutes. Next thing you know, you're ready to go again. So less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'd say the Gen 120 is a little more difficult on the Mark III than it was on the Mark IIs. The Mark IIs, the bias pots were a little more accessible, but because of the reactive load
Yeah.
in the Mark IIIs, the bias pots moved, so they're in between the tubes. So you got to have the
Yeah.
right size screwdriver and be very careful if Like once the tubes are warm, it's easy to burn yourself if you don't have it out of the head shell.
Yeah.
So I normally tell most people it's pretty easy to remove and put back into the head shell.
Yeah,
You're not going to void your warranty by
that's right.
doing that. If you take it out and start screwing around with the PCBs on the other side, well,
Yeah.
then hope you like it.
Different story.
'Cause it's yours now forever.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, the yeah.
Actually, with the D40 and the G50, I moved the bias potentiometer over so it's farther away from the tubes. I may do that with the generator 120 at some point, but it's a lot tighter, so it's harder to do. But
Yeah.
I was able to move it over so that you can access it a little bit easier.
Dylan, is that the tubes that are in the DAR? Have you seen those things? Like do you remember the DAR amp stand?
I do actually.
They
Yeah,
have
yeah.
like massive
on
tubes that were side mounted.
sideways, Yeah, yeah, lit up.
Which always seemed weird to me. Like I feel like the downward pressure. I mean, the tube's not that heavy, but the downward pressure on pins like that. I mean, we just had a dealer in Australia where one of the guide pins on their 606 broke off in the amp. So I don't know if it was from transportation issues or what, but
okay.
I feel like if you're mounting a tube that's literally like this big around and like that sideways, looks cool. Luke, you probably don't know what we're talking about, but you can look for DAR amp
DAR,
if you want to see DAR.
Yeah.
Apparently they were really cool. Yep, that's it.
There you go.
They were really cool amps. And apparently the guy like ripped a bunch of people off, like took money to
I heard
build them and then never built them. But cool looking.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's very
I see where you
unique.
stole the lights from now.
Oh no.
Now that Luke threw that up there.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh no, those aren't the DAR amp ones. So I've been talking about that for 5 minutes for no reason. So there you go. Well then,
There it is.
Dylan, how's your eye doing, man? I should have asked you that earlier. Dylan had like this crazy infection in his eye and was in the hospital. It's shitty.
Oh man. Sorry to hear
his
that.
eye
dude.
was like swollen shut, and
Yikes.
he was pretty worried about like. Yeah, they couldn't get the infection under control. I'm assuming the fact that he's commenting so much now that.
Yeah, you can see.
Yeah, either that or they cut his eye out.
Right.
And he's like, well, it is what it is
yeah,
now.
I'll just learn to live with one. I can see better this way. Yeah.
Warren, if you're still here, thanks for coming and hanging out. If not, well, you're not going to hear that anyway. So.
Yeah, Warren says gotta run. So, but thank you for hanging out for sure. G50 will be fun.
Do you guys have any other questions for us? We're getting close to the 2-hour mark, which is normally when we start to shut it down. So if you have any questions for Dan, now's your chance because he comes on about every
6 months or
I was
so.
gonna say 3 to 6 every now and then. You know. I swear we ask him more often than that. So.
Yes. Yeah, DAR amps are interesting, aren't they? Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I don't think they're still going. Yeah, I know there was some issues there, but.
I don't know anything about how they sounded or anything. I just remember hearing all the drama about it, and it was kind of like in and around the time that there was all the drama around like Bernie Rico Jr. guitars, and same thing. Like that dude, I think he actually passed away, but he took a bunch of people's money and ran. Like our buddy Chad Neville got burnt for a lot of money by
Really?
Bernie Rico. Yeah, like tens of thousands, I think. Yeah, Chad's like just way too nice of a dude. So.
Oh, totally. So guitars I use to test amps. Yeah, I've been using the same guitar for 10 years now. And that's a Schecter Diamond Series 6-string. I think it cost me $700 when I bought it 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 12 years ago.
It would be from the Pointy series of guitars.
Yeah. I mean,
Kind
there's
of. Like
nothing
it's more
special
metal.
about it. Yeah, it's more of a metal guitar.
Yep.
I mean, the output on the pickups isn't really like super hot or anything. It's pretty modern, pretty standard. And I didn't buy it, because it was supposed to be some kind of ripping guitar. I just wanted something that was fairly affordable, common, something that wasn't going to be like a radical sounding guitar. And it sounds good, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad sounding guitar, but I wanted to voice amps with something that was just sort of, more central in the spectrum, so I could assume that if you're running a guitar that's super high quality, it's going to sound like just radical, right?
Yeah.
So, and I've really come to, appreciate the sound of this guitar. It's got a decent frequency spectrum, and so I can rely on what I hear because I'm so used to it now. If I was jumping between guitars all the time, I don't think I'd get the same results. And so because I know this guitar so well, it's just the staple guitar. Like I go to this guitar for any new designs. I do have other guitars I'll throw in while I'm voicing, but this is old faithful, right? So, and that's what I've been using.
Do you use that PRS anymore? Or is that here now?
It's here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I use it if I'm depending on the amp. You know, I'll grab a guitar from here and I'll go use it for a couple weeks and I'll bring it back. But otherwise, I've got I got a 7-string LTD at home, an Acacia, and then the Schecter.
Yeah.
And that's really all I need. Yeah, if it's a metal guitar or a metal amp, I'll throw the 7-string into her. And then the Acacia's got some active pickups. And,
It's got Fishmans, right?
It's got the Fishmans, and it sounds good. It's got kind of like a baseball bat guitar neck, but once you play it for a while, it gets kind of comfortable. It's like, hey man, this is actually quite a nice guitar to play. It's set up real nice, sounds good. So that's really all I need.
It's my favorite when Dan comes here and says, "Can I borrow a Les Paul or a Strat?" Like, because I'm like, I know he's nearing the end of whatever design he's doing, because he's like, I'm gonna try this with these things. But I guess most of the time you do that now. You just come here with the amp and you're like, here, plug this in. I want to hear it with these things, and you'll have either Samurai,
I'll have you guys play,
or Brad or Scott or somebody. But yeah. And my two for testing are this. The Schecter goes into everything.
Yeah.
And that 91 Les Paul that you guys probably can't see. But it's hung up there. Oh no, you can. So yeah, those are the two that I test every piece of gear that we have. Those two, and I'll play other guitars every now and then. And
I've kind of become accustomed to you guys using those guitars as well, so I know what I'm expecting to hear out of it or not expecting to hear, depending on what we're playing.
Well, and you know what my hands sound like, and you know what Sam's.
Exactly.
I mean Sean's too, but you hear mine and Sam's all the time. So.
And so towards the end, I'll start to rely on you guys and be like, okay, now let's hear it with different hands and guitars that are not the three that I'll typically run through them.
Andrew asked, random question, can you change tubes in the G20? Not that I want/need to, just curious. He means other
other
power
octals.
tubes.
Yeah, you can't do that. No, the 6B6s are lower voltage, so they'll run a maximum high voltage of, let's say, 380, whereas anything else will demand 450 volts. So, nor will you have the space. The G series, the G20 and the D20, they are exclusively 6v6.
The height, the lid won't go on if you put anything taller than that.
That's right. So I'm afraid that's just what those amps use. I mean, you could probably stick those tubes in there and they'll work, but they'll also demand more heater current, which the power transformer is not willing to put out, and if it does, it's going to demand too much. But it'll probably work. You won't really damage anything, they just won't give you the power that you're expecting. The damage will occur if you put 6v6s into an amp like the Generator 120.
Right, yeah.
That have 460 volts DC on their plates. The 6v6s can only handle like 380. So things will start to short internally and then kaboom.
Not a good idea.
Not a good idea.
Charles said, would you guys ever... Oh, Dylan bought a pirate eye patch. Nice. Let's see here.
EQ pedal.
Yeah, EQ pedal. I don't use EQ pedals, so I wouldn't say no. I don't use them. So,
how many people on the stream here use EQ pedals? I mean, it seems to me like they're becoming a bit more popular lately. I see them maybe more often than I have lately than I have before. I don't know. The last maybe 4 to 5 years, they've become more popular. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's outside of the scope of what we would probably want to do. I have many more pedals ahead of that kind of thing, though. But yeah, at some point, perhaps.
Tilt EQ is all you need is what Luke just typed it. He's too afraid to tell you guys anything, so.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never used one. I don't even know if I have. I don't think I own. Like even like the Boss, is it the GE7 that's the graphic EQ?
Yeah.
I don't think I own.
Yeah.
I don't think I own any equalizers at all. Like not rack mounts, nothing.
There's another Canadian company that makes one too. What are they called? Empress Effects. They make something that was
Okay.
that jumped out the other day, and I noticed EQ pedal. Apparently, it was hot. So, I mean, the power of an EQ pedal is definitely undeniable. When you can radically alter certain frequencies in your tone, I mean, you're gonna probably find some cool sounds. So, I mean, you're just building upon the EQ and the amp, and I mean, that's never a bad thing, especially if you can throw it in your effects loop, and next thing you know, you're tweaking away and find some really cool sounds. I mean, that in the end is sort of the idea, right? Is finding your sound in pieces of gear, and yeah, an EQ pedal will help you do that for sure.
I can find those sounds normally just.
I mean, we work hard
Yeah.
at EQing these things, right? So that you can just throw your guitar into your amp and go. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why you can plug a generator in and basically set it to tune and play, and it sounds good because I've spent a lot of time there. But I mean, again, it's cool to use an EQ pedal. Yeah, for sure. No, I like hanging out with you guys too. It's I remember when I started first doing these YouTube things, I was nervous to all get out, but now I feel really comfortable just sitting here and just chatting about the designs and the gear and stuff. Like it's always a good time. So thanks to you guys for showing up and
Yeah.
listening to me blab, because yeah.
It makes it a lot easier when you guys come on and are interacting and commenting rather than otherwise it feels like we're talking a little bit into the darkness because everything is dark over there where the cameras are, and otherwise it feels like we're talking to Luke.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and he's already heard this today,
Yeah.
so he's done. Yeah.
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, in the coming year, I'm gonna try and make it a monthly thing.
Oh, you guys heard it.
Yeah.
You guys can
There you go. You can
you
vouch.
guys can complain to me when he doesn't do it.
Yeah.
And I'll be
Yeah.
like, Dan, you said
That's true.
monthly.
So
I think that would be awesome.
I do too. Yeah. I'd like to touch more on the technical side of things too, and just kind of let you guys into the mindset of maybe what I'm thinking of that month and for product designs. Because I mean, ultimately, like, you guys have helped me a ton just trying to figure out a lot of the feature sets that I've put into a lot of these products. Things that you like, you don't like. I wouldn't know unless you shared it with me, and so I appreciate that a great deal.
There's Dave. I haven't seen Dave like since the beginning. There's so many people who lurk in the background and barely say anything. Yeah.
I bet you my dad's here.
Oh, is he?
Probably. Just lurking.
Scott, are you here? Can they hear you when you do that, Luke, or just us?
No, they can hear me.
Okay.
Pieces of gear outside of amps you guys have on your radar.
On your radar. Ooh, yeah.
I saw a really cool pedal.
Which one?
I'm forgetting the name of it right now.
Perfect.
It's like well, I'm pulling it
Great
up.
story, bro.
Okay, hold on. It's literally just a worship pedal. I have it pulled up right here. It is the Atmosphere by Aerospace Audio.
I've never heard of them.
That's news to me.
So it's got a patch and a key. You can change the key of it, and it just lays down like this really nice pad.
Okay,
There's 5 different pad settings too.
cool.
They're really cool.
Cool gear that I've been looking at. I've been curious about that Game Changer audio stuff recently.
Oh, okay.
That plasma pedal and
Yeah,
things
yeah,
like that. I see, I see more guys showing up with those on their boards. I'm curious how that pedal is.
Yeah.
There's not a lot that really like has me curious these days. Yeah, to be honest, you know, I talk about this a lot on the live stream. I chase down the same tone out of everything that like every drive pedal, I chase down the same tone out of everything.
Yeah.
And you can tell it's me playing with either just more or less gain is really all it comes down to. And for me, it's like how stiff does it feel? Like how gratifying does it feel to play? That's all that matters. But I'm excited for NAMM because I know that there's like going to be new things that I'll get to see in person. That'll be like, oh, that's cool. I want to check that out.
Yeah.
Right. And like even though I have way more than enough guitars, you know, I'm excited to play some of the Eastman stuff and the Tyler stuff and things that are going to be at NAMM that I know.
Yeah.
Novo's bringing us something at NAMM. I really like the Saris J that I had, which is surprising to me because I'm not a big like weird offset fan, and I absolutely love that guitar. So yeah, I want to touch on one thing here. So like Dylan posted and said like Dylan says the plasma pedal is poo but looks good. Okay, I'd like to try it. Okay, I want to comment about BB's comment in a second, but if you go back up, scroll back up so I can see what Dylan said there. There, okay. I like talking circuit specifics with Dan and watching Derek's eyes cross. Okay, so Dan will vouch for me on this. We were working with the other designer that is working on some pedal stuff for us to see if we want to dip our toe into modulation stuff earlier today. And I was trying to relay like what I was hearing or what my thoughts were on one specific product that they were working on. And like while Steve is talking to me about it, I'm sure you could watch my eyes just gloss over and just be like, what? And I like look at Dan and I'm like, Dan, this is what I want. And I like cut him out. I'm like, this is what I mean. Because I know that Dan understands exactly what I'm going to say and then can translate to an actual engineer of like, no. What the moron in the room is saying is that it needs to only do this, not this. Yeah.
You know, it's funny because, just touching on that again, I've developed the ability to be the middleman in that regards, where I could, as an engineer, still communicate with somebody and, you know, quite clear, I think. I can get my point across when there's... But I do see that in some people, for sure. They talk engineer talk, but they haven't developed the ability to speak to somebody that doesn't know engineer talk, right? So it's a different language all of a sudden, and it's like, what? I don't know what you're speaking here.
I try to explain so fast. Look, don't explain the circuit to me. I'm not going to understand it. And also, I don't mean to sound like a dick, but I don't care, because I don't care to understand it. It's I'm not going to say it's irrelevant to me, but it's just, to me, it feels like information that I'm never going to need.
It is.
And I'm like, it's going to, you know, I don't know if you guys feel like this, but the older I get, the more I feel like every new bit of information that comes into my head pushes something else out. And I'm like, oh, if I have to learn this, then I'm not going to know how to do the other things I need to do. So, BB, a Revv pedal that's like the Death by Audio Fuzz War would be cool. I hate fuzz pedals with a passion. You know what? That's a great assignment for all you guys. I haven't said this yet. I should have said it earlier. If you're not part of the Revv community on Facebook, go join the Revv community on Facebook. But go tell me what fuzz pedal I would actually like that doesn't just sound like it's farting and that the circuit is just imploding on itself. Because the only time I like that is when I can make stupid noises that piss off Sam. Otherwise, I have zero use for it. So recommend some fuzz pedals that I won't actually hate, and maybe we'll do a live stream where I pick up a bunch of fuzz pedals, and we'll see which of you guys is right about.
Yeah.
Find me a fuzz that I don't hate.
There you go.
Ron Sawicki, I know Bruce and Sam Jacobs, and he's gigged with Bruce. I used several pedals, but now I like to basically go guitar directly into amp. I like having 3 or 4 channels with built-in digital reverb. I like the decimator noise gate built in. Revv amps are a good choice for high gain amp or clean to push sounds. Oh, thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Mike's a killer guitar player here. I've met him through Paul Yee. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Sorry, not Mike. Ron. Sorry.
Thanks, Ron. I appreciate
yeah.
that, man. That's killer. Love to hear it.
Finally, a contrarian opinion of Derek's that I agree with. You prefer the fart pedal to a fuzz. Me too.
Hey, Jeremy.
Oh, Jeremy Brotaint. What's up, Brotaint?
Brotaint.
Brotaint's coming to NAMM to hang out.
Are you coming, Jeremy? Awesome, buddy.
He is.
That's cool.
Him and McComb and his buddy Chris Wiley are coming.
Okay, that's excellent.
The best fuzz is the Mark II Gen 120. Yeah, on the green channel, dimed. Yeah, I like that fuzz. So.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to doing a fuzz, but yeah.
I don't even know what the Siamese Dream is, Luke. Are your in-ears making like weird clicking noises
Yeah, they're
right
clicking.
now?
They're
Yeah, I'm gonna just. Is that going to the stream or is that
Yeah,
just us?
I don't know what it is though.
I wonder if the pedal's freaking out. That Earthquaker pedal freaked out on me a little bit before.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I at some point would like to do a pedal with a sound that's never been done before too. Maybe you guys can help me with that at some point next year.
The talent booster.
The talent booster. The fart pedal's already been done, so
Yeah.
we'll have to work on talent.
And what's the other one? Is it the Miku? Is that the one they were talking
Yeah,
about?
the Miku.
Yeah. Nice.
That's what you need. That's what gear
Man,
your iron
yeah.
up.
Oh no.
I think it's just in our ears. I bet you it's there's
RF
probably
or something.
RF
yeah,
interference.
Yeah.
That's what we get for using wireless stuff in a tiny room in a tin building. Where cell phones don't work.
Yeah, we
but
can't.
clearly neither do in-ears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing gets in a row, just a click.
The Revv Fuzzilla. Nice. All right, guys. Well, it's been
Oh,
a
it's
little
been
over 2 hours, so
Wow.
I got stuff I still have to do yet tonight.
Yeah.
So thanks, guys, for
Yeah.
coming and hanging out with us.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was great, guys. Hope you guys had a blast too. And
Smashing Pumpkins towing a fart pedal into the Miku. So,
yeah, all things are possible.
enough crap. Oh, there's Brent McRae. enough pedal crap. Build a bass amp. Nice. No one plays the bass guitar, Brent. Brent used to play bass in my band. So,
Right.
He
yeah.
He's so good. Yeah. He was playing at church. It's been a long time since I played with him, and I walked into church and he was playing, and I was like, no offense to the other people who play at church, but they're not real bass players. And Brent is.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you walk in and like, that's something that like I always get annoyed with is guitar players who play bass.
Yeah.
And I've had to do it a few times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like they're not real bass players. You're not a real bass player, dude.
No, I'm not saying that I am.
Yeah. But like the majority of people that play bass that I've known, because I grew up playing in the church scene.
Yeah.
They're guitar player dropouts. Is
Yeah.
what they are. They
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
handle 6 strings, so they moved to 4 and worried about 1 note at a time.
Dope.
And
Yeah.
and then you get to play with a real bass player, and you're like, oh shit! Like
Yeah, this is what
I'm
this
a
is.
bad guitar player. Like
Yeah.
this guy is awesome.
Yeah.
And Brent McRae is one of those dudes. Also, our IT guy. So whenever the stream's messed up due to IT issues, that is.
Some major props
Yeah.
right there.
Oh, he's
There,
making
Brent.
fun of Luke's bass.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not set up well.
Brent played it at church, and he's just
Oh.
like, "This thing is a piece of shit."
I haven't played it in like 3 years,
Yeah.
so it's just been sitting.
Oh,
It
wow.
looks cool though.
Oh, you know what? Sorry, Ron. I was confusing you with Mike Swickis. Yeah. So I've been playing in bands since 1966. Wow. Thanks, Ron. We really appreciate it,
Yeah,
man.
thanks, Ron. Thanks for sharing that,
Playing
man.
at the King's Head. I've never played there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks
Oh,
for
stuck
sharing
my
that.
foot in my mouth on that one there, bud.
Appreciate you sharing that, though. That's pretty rad. I like to hear it, that we're moving in the right direction. That's for sure. So thanks for confirming that.
Luke says 1 pickup is all you need. I don't know if I agree with that, but I will say that the vast majority of the time, I do use the humbucker on this more than anything. Oh, you
For
know
a
what I
bass.
didn't mention? Tonight, for anybody watching, and I know we said we're signing off, but tonight is the last night of any of the ridiculous Christmas season sales, like Black Friday,
right.
Cyber Week, Blue Monday, Green Monday, I don't know what else.
Purple
Yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah, so 15% off pedals till I think it ends at midnight tonight.
Tell all your friends.
Is it tonight
Turquoise.
or tomorrow? I think
Turquoise
it's tonight.
Sunday. I don't know.
Yeah, and then yeah, $300 off generators, $100 off of US dollars, $100 off of
Yeah.
G20, D20, and $400 off of D25. Best deal on D25s.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna get. Sale's gonna go bye-bye. So,
Yeah.
you know, you gotta get on that if you want to get one. Go on and get you some.
Gonna get you some.
Yeah, nice, Mike. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Mike.
You'll like the tilt boost, man. That's one of my favorite pedals that we do. The tilt stuff are my favorite pedals that we do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's-
So, yeah, dude, I saw that you emailed Janelle, Andrew, that Andrew's Only Sam shirt took, I think, a month to get to him and went all over the U.S. And I was like, oh, man, this is
Wow.
ridiculous.
Really?
Um,
Yikes.
there you go. There's your Top Gun.
There it is.
All right, guys. Thanks. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. That was great. Great
Next
evening.
week, I don't know what's happening, actually. I'm assuming Sam will be here. I'm gone next week, so
Right.
for the Gearsy Beers. So
Yeah.
Sam better be back, because otherwise, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have the setup so you guys can just watch that if there's nobody here.
Maybe Sam will just come here and have a nap, and you guys
Oh.
can watch it for... Or you know what? He should bring like a Nintendo Switch or something, and him and Luke should just play video games, because
There you
I'll
go.
bring mine.
don't kids just play video games and watch like other kids on the internet play video games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not me though.
Play Guitar
We
Hero.
could probably get more views from that than what we
Yo,
actually do.
just get a big projector
I have one
on the
that-
back. But
Yeah.
like get like a backdrop.
Yeah, we
We'll
could put
just
up like the
project it.
white like
Oh
photo
yeah.
backdrop and just put a projector up and cover
There you
up
go.
the amps, and you guys could play
Yeah.
Mario Kart. For
No
like 2
talking.
hours.
We're not gonna talk at all.
No, just trash talk each other on Mario Kart.
Yeah.
We'll just mic up the controller so all you hear is just.
You can go pick up my kids
Oh
from
yeah.
my mom's place, and you can bring them here, and you guys can all play Mario Party.
There you go.
So,
Good idea.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
great evening.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, thanks guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. I say guys because there's zero chance there's any ladies watching unless it's my wife
Yeah.
or Luke's mom. So, all right. See you guys next. Well, Sam will see you next week. I'll see you
Yeah.
guys in a few weeks.
See you
Keep
guys.
an eye on social media for 12 Days of Christmas.
Right. Yeah.
Starting right away. That's one of the best things that, like, it's one of the most fun things I think that we do.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is for
So,
sure.
all right.
Okay, guys.
See you guys later.
Have a good evening.